Hi everyone, please subscribe to my channel. Blood Immortal. See playlist for other chapters and novels. Join now our Telegram channel now and enjoy exclusive early access. t.me/blood_immortal_official. I do not translate the novels. Credits goes to original translator and author of the novel. I only make it as an audiobook so it would be easier to just listen while doing other things. Credits goes to the author of the novel. I convert stories to audiobook for mental health, for multitasking purpose, for accessibility and time saving. Listening to audiobook is also beneficial for people who have disability. It improves our listening skills and improve our English comprehension, vocabulary and other things. So, thank you for listening. Thank you and thank you very much for your support. Chapter 81. Nowhere to go, can only fight. Chapter 81. Nowhere to go, can only fight. It was dark outside while the sect was filled with a dark atmosphere of chaos on the inside. Lin Fan stood next to the exit, watching those disciples take off their uniforms and put on regular clothes. He couldn't help but feel depressed. The majority of people still choose to leave. There were not too many who were left. Indeed, life was more important. Senior brother Han. Junior brother Fang. At this time, Lin Fan saw Fang Han and Han Lu who he had been against earlier. Fang Han and Han Lu saw him as well and frowned a little. Junior brother Lin, are you not leaving? Han Lu asked. No, I am not. Senior brother Han, junior brother Fang, I offended you before, and I would like to apologize to you right now. Lin Fan wanted to clear out things, considering this might be the last time they would see each other. Do not worry, they were just minor issues. I am not that mean. Han Lu laughed without any happiness. He was not sure what that Batard was thinking. Between you and me, did you offend me before? Fang Han asked in confusion. Lin Fan stopped for a second, then smiled and waved his hands. No, I remembered something wrongly, my bad, ahahaha. Right now, Lin Fan needed to maintain a good impression. Junior brother Fang's dorm was destroyed by him. As he did not know that, so it was unnecessary to admit it and create a negative feeling. Junior brother Lin, see you then. Han Lu took his package and left. As he stepped out of the sect, he glanced at Lin Fan with a smile. It seemed he could not take his revenge now. But the other sects would do it for him. Han Lu never wished to stay and defend the sect. He had a great tool which could help him get really powerful in the future. There was no need to lose his life here. If he was successful in the future, he could repay the sect by avenging it then. Fang Han was the same. He had just looked for shelter in the Saint Devil sect. Now that the sect was in great danger, there was just no need to stay. He was going to be a devil emperor in the future. It was not worthy to fight for the sect. The sect did not have that kind of a value for him, the future emperor, to fight for it. After the two of them left, Lin Fan sighed. It seemed that the sect had lost its prosperity. At this moment, Lin Fan saw an acquaintance, a very familiar man. Senior brother Wang, Lin Fan called out with a passion. Wang Tianfeng looked at all those junior brothers who had he bullied leaving the sect. He was really upset. However, he heard someone calling his name, so he turns around to check it out. Wang Tianfeng was too shocked to believe Lin Fan was here. He hated him to the bones, and even wanted him to turn into ashes. This guy attacked his private part, but shouldn't he be dead? How did he appear again? Wang Tianfeng did not know that Lin Fan had returned. Now that Lin Fan showed in front of him, he was intensely surprised. He thought he might actually be seeing a ghost. Senior brother Wang, you have not left yet. Lin Fan was surprised. Wang Tianfeng always bullied weak junior brothers. According to common sense, he should have been leaving right now. Surprisingly, he was still here. It is none of your business. Leave me alone, Wang Tianfeng said after mustering up some courage. He was afraid that Lin Fan would attack him again. That experience left a mark on Wang Tianfeng, and he could never forget that pain. Lin Fan smiled. This senior brother was just dirty. However, this might be the last conversation, so Lin Fan stopped bothering him. Suddenly, Lin Fan felt someone looking at him, making him feel anxious. When Lin Fan checked it out, he saw a junior sister smiling at him, but did not remember who she was. Lin Fan smiled back, without knowing who she was. Ah, there are monsters. Meanwhile, screams started coming from the foot of the hill. Lin Fan paid attention immediately. Monsters. There were monsters at the foot of Saint Devil Sect Hill. By now, those disciples who were leaving ran back into the sect. Many junior brothers ran away from the foot of the hill while looking shocked. Some looked frightened beyond words while some even had blood on them. There are so many monsters in the forests at the foot of the hill. When we got there, we were attacked right away. Too many, too many. A disciple was so scared that one might think it was hell down there. Lin Fan's facial expression changed as he sighed. It looked like even running away was not possible. The Yan Emperor and other sects probably had taken actions already. They were going to wipe them out completely. They hid the monsters in the forests. If the disciples went down, they would be attacked immediately. The outer sect disciples were not able to fight those monsters. Even the weakest monster was at the post-celestial level. The outer sect disciples surely could not resist them. What should we do? Monsters have blocked our way. There is no way to run. I just saw a senior brother at the post-celestial level being eaten by the monsters. Scary, it is too scary. We are going to die here. I do not want to die here. I am the only boy of my family. I came here to learn skills. At this time, it was completely chaotic. These disciples who were forced back sat on the grounds without spirits. It seemed like they had lost faith in their futures. Fang Han and Han Lu returned as well, still scared and in shock. These monsters were too brutal, and they could not fight against them. If they were not fast enough, they would be the monsters' food. Now, what should they do? How could they die here? They were still too young. Calm down. An elder showed up at this moment. In front of the crisis, he could not do anything. There were monsters at the foot of the hill, and there was no way of escaping. The elder showed up, but it was of no use. Those disciples were in panic now, and they seemed to have lost the ability to listen. Lin Fan looked at those lost disciples and shook his head. The times were truly difficult. Lin Fan raised his head and saw the clouds changing colors. Maybe the Yan Emperor and other sects had rallied outside of the Saint Devil sect. Lin Fan checked his own data carefully. After all this training, Dragon King Hegemony had reached level 2. At the same time, Faceless Sky Demon had reached level 2 as well. His power level had raised by 5,000 points. He could fight, but just not enough. Death was not fearful, but he needed to die with dignity. A cold wind suddenly blew across the area. Lin Fan looked into the distance, seeing the bright flashes in the distances. They are coming. Lin Fan closed his fists. This was the first hard battle of his life. Chapter 82, The Cowardly Disciples. Chapter 82, The Cowardly Disciples. At the foot of the Saint Devil Sect Mountain, in the Dawn Forest. The Yan Emperor stood among the crowd, looking at those 9 mountains which used to be invincible and out of reach for him back in the days. Now they were right in front of him, almost in his grasp. This feeling made him excited. There were many ancestors who tried to get the Great Yan dynasty out of the control of the Saint Devil sect. However, none of them were successful. But now, the Yan Emperor was going to lead the Great Yan dynasty out of the shame. That was indeed an outstanding achievement in history. When he looked at those other sects, people, his eyes flashed briefly. Who would have thought that the Saint Devil sect knew of our plan? Clearly, one of us leaked that information. A man in a black cloak said with his deep and raucous voice. Black Cloak King, this does not matter. Now we, the 9 sects, are rallying at the foot of Saint Devil Sect Mountain. Do you think they can defeat us? An old lady who stood next to the Black Cloak King said. The old lady had a humpback. She held a phoenix head walking stick, made from unknown materials. Her eyes were squinting, with occasional scary lights flashing by them. The Yan Emperor was the emperor of the Great Yan dynasty, but in front of these grand masters, he still was a small figure. There were both evil and good forces among the 9 sects. They used to fight when met each other. But now, they had reached an agreement. They would take the Saint Devil sect down together. What happened next could be decided later. When they heard that the Saint Devil Grand Master acquired God blood from an ancient ruin, that was the time they began to have this thought. God blood, the super rare item in the world, it was the core of powerful ancient fighters. The greater celestial level was not permanent, and it surely wasn't the end. They all had to get the God blood to see the prosperity from the ancient times and understand the unknown. Comparing each individual sect with the Saint Devil sect, no sect could really match them. The Saint Devil Grand Master had achieved his name in the world a long time ago, and no one dared to challenge him. Now, every sect united together in order to get the God blood. How they divided it after taking it would be decided later. Wipe out the Saint Devil sect. Each Grand Master looked far into the distance. They then ordered all paracelestial disciples to charge into the Saint Devil sect. In the Saint Devil sect, those outer sect disciples who wanted to leave but were unable to do so saw the dark clouds coming towards them and gave up fighting. This time, they did not think they could survive. They all felt that they were going to die. Lin Fan felt the horrifying pressure coming from them. His serious facial expression reflected the danger that was coming their way. Soon, Lin Fan saw crowds of people floating in the sky. Saint Devil Grand Master, if you do not want your sect to be ruined, then you will turn in the god blood. At this time, the Black Cloak King stepped up. He was afraid to fight the Saint Devil Grand Master alone, because he was weaker than the Saint Devil Grand Master. But now, things were different. All 9 sects were there. The Saint Devil Grand Master was strong, but it did not matter anymore. Facing those enemies who could kill them by just using their pressure, those outer sect disciples lost all power to resist. Lin Fan stood in the crowd of outer disciples and was seeing all that was happening, getting very nervous. Level 1 Greater Celestial. Level 2 Greater Celestial. Level 3 Greater Celestial. ... These Grand Masters from the 9 sects were weak compared to the Saint Devil Grand Master individually. However, these people were now working together, and they were extremely experienced. If they started to fight, they would probably tire out the Saint Devil Grand Master. At this point, people came out of the 9th mountain. The Grand Master led all the elders from the Saint Devil sect to the front of the crowd which Lin Fan stood in. They faced the other Grand Masters from the 9 sects. Black Cloak King, Blue Sea Old Lady, Universe Grand Master. Saint Devil Grand Master looked at these Grand Masters from the 9 sects, then stopped at the Yan Emperor. You actually betrayed the Saint Devil sect. The Saint Devil Grand Master said calmly to the Yan Emperor. Grand Master, the great Yan dynasty relied on the Saint Devil sect for thousands of years. This is unacceptable for any dynasty. Therefore, this is not betrayal. This is transformation, the Yan Emperor said indifferently. Hand over the god blood, or die. Grand Masters from the 9 sects shouted together, readying themselves for the upcoming slaughter. This time, they were confident. Although the Saint Devil sect was strong, that was still not going to be enough. The Saint Devil sect has lasted thousands of years. We will never bow down to any power. Even if you wipe us out today, you will pay a great price. Disciples from the Saint Devil sect, listen up. Defend our sect, the Saint Devil Grand Master roared. Defend the sect at all cost. Defend the sect at all cost. ... Inner sect disciples were ready to fight. If they died today, they would die with the sect. I do not want to die, please spare me. At this time, an outer sect disciple cried for mercy. He really did not want to die. There was no way of surviving when the 9 sects attacked. Junior Brother Lee, what are you doing? Are you a disciple from the Saint Devil sect? Some disciples said angrily. They had never thought that an outer sect disciple would beg for mercy. This was very embarrassing. Lin Fan was standing in the crowd and seeing everything. He sighed, as he knew this situation was unstoppable. Nobody wanted to die. However, right now was not about wanting to die or not. It was about personalities. Just running away and surviving without dignity, how could one face one's consciousness? Weak, useless, coward. Lin Fan never looked down on people, because everyone has something to be respected. However, these kind of people were ones even Lin Fan couldn't help but look down upon. Haha, people from 9 sects laughed out loud. Saint Devil Grand Master, these are your disciples. Fine, let me see what you did for your sect. Blue Sea Old Lady said with kind smile, but with a voice full of sarcasm. Disciples of the Saint Devil sect, if you do not want to die, you will crawl over here right now. I, the Blue Sea Old Lady, can guarantee your safety. The 9 sects here can take you as our disciples, or you can die with your Grand Master. I only give you the time for 10 breaths. Now you can begin. ... The old lady's statement gave hope to many Saint Devil disciples. Blue Sea Old Lady, how dare you trick our disciples? An elder shouted angrily. There are 7 breaths left. ... At this time, disciples from the Saint Devil sect started to talk and look at each other. Their hearts and minds had been indeed moved. They knew there was no hope to survive the attack. However, the old lady gave them hope to live. This was surely the last chance. Lin Fan looked at those disciples. He knew that the Saint Devil sect was over, there was no hope left anymore. Chapter 83. Miserable Battle. Chapter 83. Miserable Battle. I will crawl. I do not want to die. This time, an outer sect disciple could not take the pressure anymore and started to crawl to the other side while crying. This disciple was begging for mercy, looking nothing like a proud Saint Devil sect disciple. Following this, more and more outer sect disciples started to surrender. They did not want to die for the sect. They were just there to train their skills. Now that they were facing real danger, there was no way for them to give up on their lives just like that. Some just wanted to live after all. Elders and other disciples looked at these outer sect disciples, who looked like dogs begging for mercy. They were angry and sad. These were the disciples of the Saint Devil sect. Lin Fan glanced at them, but said nothing. They were not Saint Devil sect's disciples. Even if the 9 sects took them in, they would be treated like dogs. Yan Emperor, I am the son of your minister. I do not want to die. I surrender. I was here for just studying. My heart is with the dynasty. ... There were more than 10,000 disciples, and a lot of them are cowards. Now that the Blue Sea Old Lady tricked them, many outer sect disciples were moved, seeing it as the only way to survive. Although the Saint Devil sect had treated them well, compared to their lives, nice treatment was nothing. People of the 9 sects looked at those disciples and laughed. These disciples, who were willing to betray their sects in order to live, were truly just like dogs. 2 breaths. The Blue Sea Old Lady says with squinted eyes. At this point, all outer sect disciples were moves. Even some inner sect disciples started hesitating. Life or death, Grand Master, I do not want to die. An inner sect disciple who was a little reputable stepped out of the crowd and crawled to the Blue Sea Old Lady. Junior Brother Wu, you are an inner sect disciple. How can you betray the sect? Do you still have your conscience? A paracelestial level disciple threw away his respect and sect in order to survive. This made many people furious. Saint Devil Grand Master looked at all these but did not say anything or stop anyone. It seemed that he wanted to know how many would betray the sect. Senior Brother Wu, you are a bastard. I used to actually admire you. Wang Tianfeng, who used to bully junior brothers, pointed at Senior Brother Wu and growled. Among the crowd, Fang Han and Han Lu looked at each other. They did not want to die. Their lives had just started, especially Fan Han. He had the heritage of the Devil King. How could he die without achieving anything? However, letting a future Devil King crawl like a dog, that was unacceptable. But, I do not want to die. Fan Han stepped up and started to crawl towards the old lady. I also do not want to die. Han Lu followed behind quickly. Lin Fan looked at all this and frowned. If this continued, more and more disciples would betray the sect. N-O-V-E-N.C-O-M. What do you think? Saint Devil Grand Master, these are your disciples, a bunch of cowards. The Blue Sea Old Lady laughed triumphantly, as if already seeing the Saint Devil sect in ruins. Disciples, these sects will destroy our Saint Devil sect today. Even if we fight to the last man, the last drop of blood, we will not surrender. Fight, no surrender. ... The remaining disciples of Saint Devil sect shouted with anger. They knew the result of this war, but they were not afraid. It did not matter how strong the enemy was, they would defend the Saint Devil sect with their lives. Lin Fan clenched his fists. Charge! Angry battle cries spread through the whole Saint Devil sect. People of the 9 sects looked at those disciples with disdain. People who were lower than post-celestial level were just ants. No matter how many of them came, it was useless. Just comparing the most powerful fighters, with the 9 sects united, they could easily overwhelm the Saint Devil sect. A horrible war started, screaming and crying could be heard everywhere. Enemies who were at the paracelestial level easily killed a good number of Saint Devil sect disciples in an instant. Those disciples could not even fight back. Lin Fan shouted angrily and used a mortal golden body to rush everywhere, employing pure strength to attack those paracelestial level enemies. Although he was weaker than them, he wanted to kill as many as possible. Grand Masters from the 9 sects were fighting against the Saint Devil Grand Master. Suddenly, the earth started shaking and rivers stopped running. The fight between greater celestial level warriors was truly beyond ordinary people's imagination. I am going to kill you. In the battlefield, Wang Tianfeng charged at those traitors without fear. Betraying the sect means death. I will kill you all. Wang Tianfeng was just an outer sect disciple. He was only a level 7 precelestial. Compared to those traitors, he was immensely weak. Fang Han was observing the battlefield. He wanted to escape in this chaos when he saw Wang Tianfeng charging at him. He smiled, time to avenge the event at the dining hall. ... Senior brother, we should work together. Do not fight alone. Lin Fan found Niming and Yin Mochen, keeping them from fighting alone. In this war, both of them were too weak, and were basically of no use. Junior brother, today is probably the last fight for the 3 of us. I hope we can still be brothers in next life. Charge! Lin Fan did not hold back as well. He initiated stealth mode and started to move around. He used his sword to assassinate those level 1 paracelestial enemies. At this time, Lin Fan made a discovery. When his power increased, his level would increase as well. But, His fighting ability was actually superior compared to those who were at the same level as him. Even a level 1 paracelestial could be killed by him. Fang Han, Han Lu, you too shall die. This time, Wang Tianfang roared with red eyes. His chest area was hit by Fang Han and was broken. Blood was continuously pouring out of his mouth. Fang Han and Han Lu looked at each other, and retreated immediately. It was unwise to stay, and they had to leave now. On the other side, Lin Fan continued his killing spree. His clothes were soaked with blood. Some of it was from the disciples of the 9 sects, while some of it was his own. Senior brother Wang, are you okay? Lin Fan saw the dying Wang Tianfang and walked up to him. Junior brother Lin, Wang Tianfang was about to die. He smiled at Lin Fan. Those 2 traitors will not have good endings. His eyes closed as he took his last breath. Senior brother Wang, Lin Fan realized that he had passed away. He stood up and looked at the sect full of bodies. This was a cruel war, in which one or the other side died. Even senior brother Wang, who liked to bully junior brothers, fought for the sect. This clearly showed that his heart was much better than those traitors. Although some of them may have great potential, they were no still match compared to senior brother Wang. Chapter 84. Let Loose, Lin Fan. Chapter 84. Let Loose, Lin Fan. Saint Devil Grand Master, look at your sect. If you do not want it to be ruined, hand over the god blood and give up your power. Then, we will let your sect live. Black Cloak King shouted while laughing viciously. The disciples of the Saint Devil sect died honorably. You guys destroyed my sect today, I will make sure you die with it. The Grand Master saw his disciples being killed by the 9 sects. His heart was bleeding and enraged, as they were all his loyal disciples. At that moment, Saint Devil Grand Master's hair floated in the air. His power level started to increase, so much that even space seemed to be broken by his power. Sky-devouring demon blade. The Grand Masters from the 9 sects saw the Saint Devil Grand Master take out his ultimate weapon, knowing it was finally getting serious. If they did not kill him now, they would not have stable lives in the future. Charge! The Saint Devil Grand Master shouted with full might. His blade glowed with a black light. The light covered the sky, went through the clouds, and charged towards the 9 Grand Masters with an unstoppable force. Lin Fan used his stealth mode to kill level 1 and 2 paracelestial enemies. He looked around and found that all the elders were surrounded by other enemy elders, and had all died. Senior brother Meng Yongchong was hurt badly, and could be killed by any paracelestial level person by now. As Lin Fan continued to kill enemy paracelestial disciples, he suddenly felt a grave danger. A strong being had locked on him. He saw an attack with a powerful energy coming on top of him. His position was locked by a mountain-like power, and there was no way to escape. Is this the end of me? Lin Fan shouted and used all his power. If he could not escape, he would fight it. Junior brother, look out. At this time, a man suddenly showed up and pushed him away. Lin Fan was shocked, but when he saw the man who pushed him away, he couldn't help but scream. Senior brother Ni. Lin Fan did not think senior brother Ni would take the hit for him. That hit should have been on him, but instead, blasted senior brother Ni away. Lin Fan went on to look at the enemy floating in the air. Level 8 Paracelestial. Lin Fan immediately went to senior brother Ni, who was covered with blood. That attack was brutal, something Lin Fan could not have endured, neither could senior brother Ni. Senior brother Ni, why? Lin Fan looked at Ni Mingyang, his eyes turning red. Junior brother, do not worry. Senior brothers should protect junior brothers. Take care. Senior brother, Lin Fan shouted out with pain. He stood up and stared at the enemy floating in the sky. That enemy looked at them with disdain. These two were just ants to him. Hong. At this time, a loud noise took place on the battlefield. Damn, looks like we underestimated Saint Devil Grand Master. He is going all out. In midair, Saint Devil Grand Master was covered with wounds, blood coming out continuously. But, his power was getting stronger. Taking a look at the 9 Grand Masters, one could see that everyone had blood on them, especially the Blue Sea Old Lady, who had lost an arm. You destroy my sect, I will make you die for it. Saint Devil Grand Master shouted with red eyes, clearly going crazy with rage at the loss of all the elders and disciples. This time, Grand Masters from the 9 sects started getting nervous. The Saint Devil Grand Master's power was getting stronger and stronger. It was like ocean waves covering the whole world. Saint Devil Grand Master, your time has come, admit it. Suddenly, a light flashed by and got behind the Grand Master. A sneak attack with enormous power hit his back intensely. It is her. Lin Fan saw everything clearly. The person who sneakily attacked the Grand Master was the junior sister he had saved during the early days. Protect the Grand Master. Those disciples who were in battle quickly surrounded the Grand Master when they saw him getting hit. The Saint Devil Grand Master's face looked pale, and he had lost all his previous power. He spoke to the people floating in the air. Heaven Queen, who would have thought you snuck into my sect? Saint Devil Grand Master, hand over the god blood and I can guarantee the continuance of your sect. Heaven Queen shook a little, her Saint Devil outfit changing into a white dress with golden decoration. She suddenly became elegant and sexy, with a pair of bright eyes showing her heavenly power. I lost. The Saint Devil Grand Master looked like a very old man by now. His black hair had turned white, and his soft skin was like tree bark now, withering and crumpled. Senior brother, Lin Fan looked at Meng Yongchong, who was covered with wounds. He was depressed beyond limits, knowing that the Saint Devil sect was over. God blood, I will not give it to you even if I die. Saint Devil Grand Master closed his eyes. Although he had lost, he still would not let the enemies have their way. Thousands of years of existence was eventually over. This master has let you down. Refuse to hand it over. Then die. Heaven Queen cried softly as she readied up a fatal move. Grand Master, disciple will go first. Junior brother, protect our master. Meng Yongchong looked at the ruin of the sect, then shouted and charged at the Heaven Queen. Die. Meng Yongchong used his last power like a shooting star, bright yet short. Senior brother, Lin Fan yelled hoarsely, his mind on the verge of breaking down seeing his senior brothers sacrifice themselves one after another. Let us fight. The rest of the disciples followed Meng Yongchong's lead and charged at the sky, using their last force to protect the sect. Heaven Queen looked at all those disciples and raised her hand. A flame phoenix swooshed out of her palm, passing swiftly through the air, followed by miserable screams. Master Heaven Queen, please let senior brother Meng go. At this time, a woman ran into the field. Mu Chanu. Lin Fan looked at her. He did not think she would come at this point. Ah! Meng Yongchong screamed after being blown to the ground. His body was covered with an inextinguishable fire, eating away his body rapidly. No! Mu Chanu saw his state and screamed. Master Heaven Queen, please let him go. Mu Chanu knelt on the ground and begged while crying. However, the Heaven Queen floated in the air and looked at the ground with no emotions. It seemed that nothing could change her mind. Junior sister Mu, why did you come back? Meng Yongchong, who was covered with fire, stood up with a lot of effort and asked. Senior brother, I am sorry. Mu Chanu looked at the man on fire and cried. She held senior brother Meng's body, disregarding the flame that had started to burn her as well. Heaven Queen, please, let him go. Why? Meng Yongchong was dying, but at this point, he started to understand what was going in. Lin Fan looked at everything until senior brother Meng and Mu Chanu both turned into ashes. The Heaven Queen did not even move, it seemed that all existences were similar to ants in her eyes. Lin Fan's heart stopped from all the pain and pressure. The sect was gone, senior brother Yin was gone, senior brother Ni was gone. Lin Fan felt like a lost kid. He looked at the sect which used to be prosperous, but now had turned into hell. Grand Master, Lin Fan said with teary eyes, barely croaking out a hoarse voice from his parched throat. Saint Devil Grand Master looked at the only disciple of his that was left. He started laughing madly, going insane with the grief and anger. Lin Fan lost his mind as he roared in his mind. Why? I came to this world, and all good things are gone. 2 important senior brothers are gone, why? It was then that Lin Fan shouted, his voice cold and seething with rage, 9 sects, Yan Emperor, Heaven Queen, you destroyed my most important friends. Everyone looked at the last disciple who had gone mad, and laughed. To them, he was just a crazy fool about to die. How did you come back to life? Heaven Queen broke her silence and asked Lin Fan. She had herself seen him die and get buried, without any trace of life at all. But Lin Fan did not bother to respond to her question. He lowered his head, his body shaking, and started to laugh madly. You kill my favorite senior brothers. I will make you pay with my life. At this time, the 9 Grand Masters felt something wrong, because the disciples' power was increasing. The Yan Emperor, who was watching the field and the golden light coming out of the disciple, was shocked beyond words. That is my martial skill, Dragon King Hegemony. When a golden dragon's shadow showed up behind Lin Fan, the facial expression of Yan Emperor turned even worse. So he is the man at that time. Grand Master, please acknowledge disciple Lin Fan's last fight. I will fight to my last breath. I will not bring shame to the sect. Lin Fan shouted hoarsely. His body was covered with golden light that pierced through the cloud. Among those lights, Lin Fan was like a god coming down from the heaven. Dragon King Hegemony. The Saint Devil Grand Master looked at the last disciple of the Saint Devil sect. Suddenly, Lin Fan's power level started raising. Second level of Dragon King Hegemony, increases 20% of the power level. But it is not enough. Lin Fan was ready to die, and had lost all hopes of living after this. But no matter what, he needed to make sure he took revenge. What is happening to the disciple? How is he getting so strong? 9 Grand Masters find it unbelievable. The disciples of the 9 sects were confused. That guy was just like an ant to them a few moments ago. But now, he was actually posing a great threat. Lin Fan's eyes turned red as he stared at the 9 sects and spat out venomously. I will sacrifice my life to kill you. Chapter 85. Using the title, The Last Eruption. Chapter 85. Using the title, The Last Eruption. Lin Fan's hate had exceeded the limits. If he could, he would kill everyone instantly right here, right now. However, killing everyone was too much for Lin Fan with his current cultivation level. It was nearly impossible. Weak, too weak, Lin Fan found for the first time how weak he was in the face of absolute power. The Saint Devil sect had lasted for thousands of years. Its power was beyond many other sects. However, it did not matter how strong one was while facing a pack of wolves. When the 9 sect united together, the Saint Devil sect was like a piece of paper that was crushed instantly. The spell that used to protect the sect was useless, as it had been sabotaged by someone from the inside. This made Lin Fan realize that spies were planted in way before. That Mu Chanu, that so-called Heaven Queen. Heaven Queen was the junior sister who Lin Fan helped before in the dining hall. But he just did not pay enough attention to her at that time to notice anything being off. This is your Dragon King Hegemony. But, this power is much stronger. What is going on? The 9 Grand Masters looked at the Yan Emperor. It seemed that they were asking how that man knew his core martial skill, clearly suspecting some foul play. The Yan Emperor was very angry now. He had started to realize that this brat was the one who made he and his queen suffer that day. Lin Fan laughed with no emotions. His pale skin turned red, and blood started leaking out. It was like he would be covered with a blood mist in no time. After receiving the deadly hit from the Heaven Queen, the Saint Devil Grand Master raised his head and looked at the last disciple of his that was left. Even with his experience, the current situation seemed unbelievable and beyond his comprehension. What was happened to him? His power was way beyond the paracelestial level, and it was raising as if it was limitless. Today, I will die in the sect. I regret nothing. Lin Fan's face looked horrifying, enduring that unbearable pain. Pa! A light cracking sound was heard, as the long and pale arm of his got bigger and bigger like a balloon. The tendons and vessels covering his arm were like dragons wrapping around his arm, as black flames started coming out of his arm. He looked like a devil coming out of hell. Ding! Used Flame Heaven Rhino blood, Berserk mode on. Gained Flame Heaven Rhino's flame, the black hell fire. By now, Lin Fan had started to lose consciousness. Darkness had blurred his mind. Not enough. Lin Fan shouted with all his might, as his body kept enlarging. His clothes shredded while black fire covered his body, making him look like a dragon made of flame. Used, the last drop of Flame Heaven Rhino blood. Ding! Second time used the Flame Heaven Rhino blood, Berserk mode on, side effects unknown. Lin Fan killed the Flame Heaven Rhino and got this blood. He had not intended to use them because of the unknown side effect. But now, he had decided to stop holding back. Either you die or I die. That is the blood of Flame Heaven Rhino. It cannot be consumed. Is he crazy? The 9 Grand Masters saw this and were shocked speechless. The blood of monsters was rare. However, it was like poison for fighters. Even the Grand Masters did not dare to use it, because there was heritage content for the monsters within the blood. Although it could boost one's power for a short time, there was endless violence, cruelty, darkness and bloodthirsty, negative emotions in it. It could even get into one's own blood, and change a human into a monster. In the past, a fighter consumed a monster's blood which was not processed. Although his power increased dramatically, he could not endure the brutal power within it eventually and passed away. Now, this guy dared consume the blood of Flame Heaven Rhino. The rhino was one of the most brutal monsters on the list, and no man could possibly endure the side effects of its blood. On the other side, Lin Fan's face looked terrifying right now. His power was out of control, roaring like a flood inside his body. Heaven Queen looked at Lin Fan, who seemed like a devil, and frowned. He can endure the blood of Flame Heaven Rhino. Is this the Almighty Pill's doing? Does consuming the Almighty Pill have other effects? Heaven Queen was now confused. When she gave Lin Fan an almighty pill secretly, it was just an experiment pill. The method to use the pill was written down, but he chose to consume it directly. Heaven Queen had at that time found that to be a pity. However, what was happening now was shocking. Does not make sense. It does not make sense. The 9 Grand Masters looked at what was happening in shock mixed. Although they are nervous, they were not scared. Based on the current situation, he was still weak and easy to be put down. The greater celestial level could not be compared with someone who consumed the blood of monsters. Level 1 Lesser Celestial. Relying on the boost from Dragon King Hegemony and 2 drops of Flame Heaven Rhino's blood, Lin Fan's Berserk mode had reached Lesser Celestial level. Haha, Saint Devil Grand Master, look at your last disciple. He will be a half man and half monster. He will end up dead eventually as well, albeit even more pitifully. Do you want to enjoy the last disciple's ending, or you want us to end his life quickly? Level 1 Lesser Celestial, good, very good. But this is not enough. Black Cloak King laughed viciously. Even if Lin Fan used his life, an ant was still an ant. Lesser Celestial level warriors could still be put down easily. Lin Fan's power scared the disciples from the 9 sects. This violent and bloody power was hard to bear. However, it did not matter how strong he was. The Grand Masters were here, so there was nothing he could do. By now, Lin Fan's arms were gone. They looked like the claws of the devil. Scales covered his arms, and dark hellfire seemed to be roaring on the tips of his fingers. Not enough, not enough. I want to be stronger. Lin Fan shouted hoarsely. He seemed to have gone mad and used everything. He raised his head, his eyes dark like hell. Anyone who looked at his eyes could feel being sucked into endless darkness. The fate is not on my side. I let you down. So many great disciples are dead in my hands. Saint Devil Grand Master could only cry while pitifully lying on the side, unable to do anything but watch. Even if the disciple got a little strong, it had no use. The 9 Grand Masters and Heaven Queen were here and there was no hope. Lin Fan felt the power within his body, and stared at the people in the air once, before lightly speaking in his mind. Use title. Ding. Confirm use one-time use title. Fight no matter what. Level increases dramatically, 1 level up. Time duration 30 minutes. While the people from the 9 sect were treating Lin Fan as an ant, the sky changed its color. Clouds covered the sky, and thunderstorms started approaching. The world had changed, as if the end was coming. With Lin Fan at the center, a dark storm covered him. Within it, endless lightning and thunder could be felt. Disciples from the 9 sect looked at the storm and felt their bodies shaking because of the fear. What was happening? The 9 Grand Masters were shocked and terrified as well this time. It actually felt like danger. Chapter 86. Death is not scary. End of Act 1. Chapter 86. Death is not scary. End of Act 1. I will make you die with my sect. A voice filled with irreconcilable hate and anger came out of the storm. Everyone watch out. This is strange. The 9 Grand Masters frowned simultaneously. This power was too much for even them, and they had to be careful. What did this last disciple use to gain this much power? Lin Fan stood in the storm, looked at the 9 sects and started to laugh. The brutal power seemed to have consumed his consciousness. However, the last will stayed in his mind. Kill everyone, let them pay. Hong. A thick dark light flew into the sky. At this time, Lin Fan finally appeared out of the storm. The 9 sects, disciples looked at him and almost lost their minds with the terror. Was this a human or a devil? A tall and red body, with black flames covering completely. The black eyes reflected the scary, raging power. His eyes were surrounded with a dark flame as well, and the sharp claws felt sinister and cold. Scary, too scary. Saint Devil Grand Master looked at this disciple and was stunned. What had happened? Power. This was the greater celestial level power. What was this method? He could boost himself to the greater celestial level. The power was more evil than even the devil, more violent than even monsters. Lin Fan moved, his eyes without a single emotion as they looked once at the disciples of the 9 sects. They finally stopped at one disciple and refused to move away. Senior Brother Ni, I will avenge you. Lin Fan's voice sounded evil, as if he were an ancient devil. While the 9 Grand Masters and Heaven Queen were staring unblinkingly at Lin Fan, they realized that he had actually disappeared without them realizing. How dare you? At this time, the Black Cloak King realizes something. He saw Lin Fan charge into 9 sects disciples. That level 8 paracelestial disciple's face turned pale when he saw this devil appearing right in front of him. He tried to resist, using his strongest attack to hit Lin Fan. Pong! The disciple was happy to know that he hit the target. But suddenly, he started to scream. My hand. A sliver of dark hell flame went into his hand. He tried to put it out, but he was unable to. I will cut you in pieces. Lin Fan grabbed that disciple with his giant devil hand. Stop. The Black Cloak King saw this and yelled out hurriedly while rushing towards them. This was a level 8 paracelestial disciple, he could not die that easily. Lin Fan smiled cruelly. In a flash, he tore that disciple into pieces with both his bare hands. Blood flew everywhere, making the atmosphere feel bloody to all the senses. Ha ha, Lin Fan's eyes lit up, and he started to attack the other disciples. Kill my brothers, I will kill you all. Lin Fan charged at those disciples who were too scared to even move. His limited consciousness urged him to kill all of them to avenge his brothers. Bastard, Black Cloak King knew he had to act urgently. However, whenever he acted, Lin Fan would disappear. Over there, Black Cloak King was a greater celestial level master. He could sense Lin Fan easily, but he was still not able to follow, leave alone intercept him. Meanwhile, screams were resounding everywhere. Lin Fan used extremely brutal and bloody ways to kill each sect's disciples. Their bodies were gone. That pair of devil hands tore every enemy disciple into pieces. The dark hell flame subsequently tortured them till they lost their last breaths. Kill, kill. Lin Fan only knew how to kill right now, his eyes filled with bloodlust. Bastard, stop. Black Cloak King looked at what was happening and shouted. What are you looking at? Stop him or all our disciples will be dead. The other Grand Masters came out of their stupor and acted immediately. If they let that guy keep killing, everyone would truly die. Good, good, good kills. Saint Devil Grand Master laughed while lying on the ground. His tears were flowing out of his eyes like the blood of the enemy disciples, soon dyed red. Saint Devil Grand Master, let me kill you first. The Grand Masters yelled to somehow change the momentum of the fight. Keep him alive, we need to know where the god blood is. ... 9 Grand Masters acted together, trying to kill the last disciple. Lin Fan laughed all this while madly, ignoring the interceptions of the 9 Grand Masters completely. He went only and only for those disciples. I want to see whether your heart is black or not. Lin Fan shouted, as his claw penetrated a disciple's chest and pulled his heart out. Grand Master, help, he is the devil. Now, disciples from the 9 sects were screaming for help. The devil was killing everything in his path, and these disciples, who all were mighty paracelestial warriors, were crying like babies in the face of a monster. The sky was raining down blood. The entrance of the sect was covered with blood as a result of the slaughter that took place earlier, along with what was going on right now. Lin Fan needed to use those bastards' blood to avenge his brothers. Die. Black Cloak King finally found a chance and attacked Lin Fan's back with a powerful hit. At this time, the 9 Grand Masters blocked his path and used their strongest attacks to stop him. Lin Fan shouted in maniacal rage in a voice that could no longer be described as anything related to a human, as dark hell flame rose up around him. I will kill you all. Lin Fan charged at the Blue Sea Old Lady, whose one arm had been cut off by the Saint Devil Grand Master earlier. The old lady had lost an arm, and consequently had become weaker. But still, she smiled when she saw Lin Fan charging at her. You really have a death wish. Her phoenix head stick pointed towards Lin Fan with a green light glowing on it, which suddenly blasted with a fierce noise and power. Pooh, Lin Fan did not dodge it at all, letting the green light pass through his body. He had lost all thoughts of self-preservation by now, and the only thing in his mind was about killing all his enemies and using their blood to satisfy his fallen brothers. I want you to die. Lin Fan shouted, his mouth full of blood. He knew that though his power had increased, he had no chance to live under the attack from the 9 Grand Masters. Lin Fan just wanted to at least take one with him. By this time, the other Grand Masters reached close and attacked together. Pooh, Lin Fan spat blood from his mouth violently, but he was not going to stop. Blue Sea Old Lady, just die. Lin Fan used his claw and punched at the chest of the old lady. Dark hell flame released from his body was just like fire snakes, wanting to consume the old lady alive. Her faces turned pale and blood rushed out of her mouth. Slice. At this time, a light flashed sharply, as Yan Emperor charged his sword from the side and sliced off the arm Lin Fan used to attack the old lady. Yan Emperor. Lin Fan saw the old lady pull out his arm, and start to heal herself. He stared at the Emperor with eyes full of hatred. Kill him. Wait, the Heaven Queen spoke up at this point. Lin Fan stood there weakly, the dark flame becoming smaller and smaller, seeming to die at any moment. Blood soaked his body, a body that was full of holes. Ha ha, Lin Fan laughed bitterly. There was no hope now, but he still did not give up. He just felt a regret. Why could not I get stronger just by a little? Let me ask you, what happened to you when you consumed the almighty pill? Heaven Queen asked Lin Fan while looking at him. You gave that to me? Lin Fan asked the beautiful Heaven Queen calmly. Yes, it was a little gift for you to thank you for helping me. If you do not want to die, then you will tell me. Hee hee. Lin Fan smiled and looked at the sky. Death is not scary. If you really want to know, I will tell you. Heaven Queen, you want to save him? People from 9 sects were shocked. Although this guy consumed the blood of Flame Heaven Rhino, Heaven Queen could probably use her amazing skills to keep him alive. If he lived, the consequences would be horrible for them. The Heaven Queen was displeased and stared at the 9 Grand Masters in silent rebuke. The 9 Masters did not dare to act, so Heaven Queen looked at Lin Fan and said, fine. Lin Fan moved his body slowly, each step leaving a blood print. His back was hit by 8 Grand Masters and was totally ruined. Even the undead body could not resist such a torment. Lin Fan moved to the front of Heaven Queen slowly, stared at the Queen's clear eyes and said, I just want to tell you alone. Fine. Heaven Queen did not refuse, her eyes flashing with unclear motives. Lin Fan bent his body and got close to her ears, actually. Senior brother Mang, I will avenge you. Pooh. Lin Fan suddenly bit at the neck of the Heaven Queen. Those devil teeth got into the Heaven Queen's slender neck, ready to bite off a huge chunk of flesh. Pung! The Heaven Queen was startled and punched Lin Fan away with a sudden burst of power. Her white neck had red bite marks clearly visible on T, and blood was flowing freely out of it. How dare you! The Heaven Queen's face was like frost with anger. The 9 Grand Masters were so afraid that their heartbeats seemed to be ready to stop at any time. Ha ha! Lin Fan laughed madly, spurting even more blood out of his mouth in the process. But still, he could not stop laughing like a maniac. Grand Master, I tried my best. I did not bring shame to the sect. Lin Fan looked at the Grand Master, his power getting weaker and weaker. The time duration of the title and the blood was almost over. His body was shrinking, and had started to return to its normal state. Well, Saint Devil Grand Master laughed madly. Heaven Queen, Black Cloak King, Yan Emperor, Blue Sea Old Lady, all of you from the 9 sects, you will all regret this. He shouted angrily, and suddenly, his power increased tremendously, as a sense of death started bursting out of his body. Damn, the old guy is going to detonate himself. The 9 Grand Masters got nervous. The result of self-detonation of a greater celestial level fighter was unimaginably powerful. At this time, black lights blinded everyone's eyes. But on the other side, Lin Fan saw a token flying towards him. At the same time, a drop of golden blood came out of the Grand Master's forehead. Saint Devil Grand Master put the god blood into Lin Fan's head while saying, go back, to the final destination. Tell the original sect, I am sorry. The sense of the god blood. At the time, Heaven Queen and 9 Grand Masters detected the sense of the god blood. It is bad, we were tricked. At the same time, Saint Devil Grand Master's body that was expanding swiftly started to shrink suddenly like a broken balloon. All the power he generated was taken by the token. When the light finally disappeared, Lin Fan was nowhere to be seen. Saint Devil Grand Master's body was only left in the form of a skeleton, all of his energy taken away. What happened? The 9 Grand Masters looked at each other confusedly. Heaven Queen looked around the place and frowned. Chapter 87. 2 Choices. Chapter 87. 2 Choices. Ah, what is Master thinking? Putting me here for restriction for no reason. When will this end? A girl with white skin and a pretty look sat in a house constructed of stones, wearing green clothes. Her clear eyes were like 2 shining rubies. Master says, if a man shows up on the bed, I will avoid the punishment. But it must be fake. How can a man show up from nowhere? According to the record of the sect, there has been no one appearing on the bed for thousands of years. Mu Xiaoqiao had a caring master, but this master was a bit strict. If she made any mistake, she would be sent to the restriction room. The stone house used to be a forbidden place. Later on, for some unknown reasons, it became a place for restriction. The house was big, and built such that no wind could come in. The stone walls were tough, and there was nothing but a bed made of stone in the house. When Mu Xiaoqiao was still grumbling and thinking about how to endure the restriction, the space above the bed bent suddenly. A man appeared and lied on the bed, literally out of nowhere. Mu Xiaoqiao stood up in shock. What the hell happened just now? How did a guy appear here? Mu Xiaoqiao did not see the man clearly, so she moved forward to check him out. Taida, Taida. Mu Xiaochao's eyes opened widely, and she was struck by an unprecedented horror. What was that noise? Ah! When Mu Xiaochao saw the man on the bed, she started to scream. She covered her mouth, unable to believe what is happening. So much blood, so many wounds. The shoulder had been penetrated by someone, and one could even see the bones. It frightened Mu Xiaochao out of her wits. Is he dead? Mu Xiaochao looked at him with frightened eyes. When she saw what was between the man's leg, she suddenly got embarrassed and started to scream even louder. Master, help! Mu Xiaochao ran out of the door, unable to stand the horrifying situation any longer. The stone house had a door, which was not locked. People could actually leave freely. However, those disciples still did not dare to leave until the restriction time was up. Not knowing how long had passed, Lin Fan felt like his consciousness was a boat in the middle of an ocean. It faced a heavy storm and barely floated around, constantly under the threat of being consumed at any moment. Darkness, there was not a single light. Am I dead? The storm seemed to have gotten bigger. The boat had sunk. Lin Fan closed his eyes and sank into the ocean. He could not feel anything, any power. Sinking was probably the only choice left for him. Junior brother Lin, you can do it. November LBJNN. Junior brother Lin, go on and live. Swim up, do not sink to the bottom. At this time, so many familiar faces appeared in front of Lin Fan. Everyone was smiling. Brothers, Lin Fan barely managed to speak out a word, his throat choked from the emotions. Ah, Lin Fan shouted, using all of his willpower to swim up. However, it was really hard to do it. The water felt like mercury, but the constant urges of his brothers seemed to give him power to somehow work his way up. Grand Master, he is awake. Lin Fan found it a little noisy around him. The light made it more difficult to open his eyes. After struggling for a few moments, he got used to it and finally saw people in front of him. Senior brother, Grand Master. Lin Fan looked at the blurry images and tried to talk. However, when he saw the people clearly, he lowered his head. They were not his senior brother or Grand Master. You are awake, then rest up. You must be thinking many things. Do not worry, you are safe now, and no one will hurt you. We will get out now and leave you alone. Yes, Grand Master. When these people left, Lin Fan looked at the unfamiliar environment and wondered where he was. The Grand Master sent him away at last, sacrificing his life to protect him. What was this place? Was his sect truly finished? At this time, at the main palace. Grand Master, this is the last disciple of Dark Rock Master. I think we should take him in. A strong and handsome man stood in the palace and said with a depressed tone. A man who stood in the middle of the palace held the token. The token was with which Saint Devil Grand Master used all his energy to send Lin Fan here. It recorded the end of Saint Devil sect, and the situation about Lin Fan. Saint Devil Grand Master asked the sect to take Lin Fan in, and keeps him as the last man of the Saint Devil sect. I have made my mind. Dark Rock Master was our senior master. Now that his sect is ruined, we need to take care of his last disciple. Later, you ask him a question. Does he want to join us? Or he wants to continue his sect? If he chooses the second one, then you will give the unnamed mountain in the northwest to him. Glory Sect Grand Master shook his head and sighed. This was all that he could do for the senior master. Although Dark Rock Master had been building a division in Kangling continent for thousands of years, as the Grand Master of the main sect, he just could not ignore this. Grand Master, this is not good. The disciple has lost his potential. His life is over. Others may disagree if you give the unnamed mountain to him. I have made up my mind. If there is an argument, they will have to come and see me. From now on, the unnamed mountain will be named as Saint Devil Mountain. It will be the division sect of the Glory Sect. The disciple is the 6th Grand Master of the Saint Devil Sect. My junior brothers, please help me in the future. Grand Master Yan had clearly made his mind and left the place. Senior brother Wuya, why does the Grand Master do this? He does not have to give the mountain to the disciple. Yan Zonwen was very confused. Wuya shook his head and smiled. Junior brother Yan, you probably do not know this. Dark Rock Master saved the life of senior brother Yan's ancestors. Later, he helped Yan's ancestor join the Glory Sect. This was such a big help. Senior brother Yan appreciates people who helped him. Giving the disciple the unnamed mountain is nothing. He has lost his potential, and cannot reach any higher level, and he will pass away after 100 years of age. So why to take it to heart? Fine, no more talking. I will go check him out. Not sure when he will get over the desire for vengeance. What a pity, he was full of potential. Wuya shook his head. They had known all the information from the token. This disciple consumed the blood of monsters and increases his power forcefully. The consequence was that he hurt himself and ended up becoming a common person. For this kind of brave disciple, they trusted him and admired him. It was an honor for a sect to have this kind of a disciple. Chapter 88. Official Integration. Chapter 88. Official Integration. Lin Fan was sitting on his bed. The death of his senior brothers had made him incomparably sad. His tears would come out of his eyes whenever he thought about them, and all the scenes he saw as his sect was completely annihilated. Since you are alive, you should face the future. Getting lost in pain is just the action of the weak. A voice came over as two people were seen coming from outside. Wuya and Yan Zonwen looked at the disciple, then sighed. Who are you? What is this place? Lin Fan saw the unknown people, searching for answers to clarify the situation he was in right now. Slow down. One by one, this is the Glory Sect. It is also the headquarter of the Saint Devil Sect. Saint Devil Grand Master used all of his power to activate the token to send you back. Wuya said. Lin Fan was shocked to hear this news. This was the headquarter, it is what the Grand Master always talked about. He never thought the Grand Master would sacrifice himself to send him back. Is this Zanhuang world? Can I still go back? Lin Fan asked with a small flicker in his eyes. This is Zanhuang world. But here is the Dongling continent. There is a hell sea between the Kangling continent and us. It is very difficult for you to go back. Even we cannot even do that. Wuya replied calmly. Lin Fan heard it and couldn't help but clench his fists. As long as it was possible to go back. Who are you? Lin Fan looked at the two. If this were the headquarter, they would be able to send him back. I am the senior elder of Glory Sect, Wuya. Senior elder of Glory Sect, Yan Zonwen. You want us to send you back. But this is impossible, even for our Grand Master. Wuya figured out Lin Fan's thoughts and hurried to stop him from delving into them more. Why? But at this point, there was no way Lin Fan could just give up. November LBJNN. Long time ago, the legends say that an ultimate being wanted to stop the civil war in Zanhuang world. Therefore, he cut the world in half. Unless you can find the token which the ultimate one left, you have no way to go back. Of course, 2 tokens have been used. We are not sure if there are more. Wuya said with a slight ah hidden in his voice. You can stay in the sect. Grand Master gives you 2 choices. One is to come back to the Glory Sect and become a disciple. Another is to give you the unnamed mountain, and you will be the 6th Grand Master of Saint Devil Sect, in order to continue its legacy. Lin Fan looked at Senior Elder Wuya and said without hesitation, I will pass down the legacy of Saint Devil Sect. Are you sure? Wuya tried to confirm his choice. I am sure. Grand Master sacrificed his life to send me here. I cannot forget the vengeance. I will find the token to go back to Kangling continent to avenge my sect. Lin Fan answered firmly, his voice shaking with unresolved emotions. He just could not forget the blood feud that now existed between him and the 9 sects. Fine, when you are recovered, I will bring you to the unnamed mountain. Of course, you have to be prepared, there is nothing in the mountain. You have to rely on your own. Wuya said with a nod. Thank you, Senior Elder. Lin Face bowed gracefully. The 2 people talked for a little while with Lin Fan and then left the room. Senior brother, why did you tell him about the token? Letting him have some daydreams. Senior Elder Yan said disapprovingly. Junior brother, with hope, there could be a miracle. Wuya smiled and left the place without saying anything. In the next couple of days, Lin Fan recovered swiftly. His body hurt really bad this time, more than ever before. Lin Fan was sleeping most of the time in order to recover. But today, he finally felt that his body was good now. Lin Fan tried to open his panel to check his status. However, when he pulled out his panel, he was shocked. There was no response, no matter how hard he tried. Impossible. Now, Lin Fan's face turned pale. His only way to take revenge was the system, but it was gone now. Ding, the strongest system fuses officially. Lin Fan was so glad he almost cried out on hearing the sound of the system. But the moment he tried to say something, he went into a deep coma. He did not realize how long had passed, but when he opened his eyes, it was dawn outside. Lin Fan checked his status at once. What was this official fusion? What happened to the system? Lin Fan opened the panel and checked it carefully. Name, Lin Fan. Power level, level 1 post-celestial. Body, level 1 paracelestial. Potential, unlimited. Bloodline, none. Skill, yin-yang, boost, stealth, advantage, making weapons, teaching students. Backpack, 9-5 big red brick, map of the 7 holy treasures. All the previous panels were gone, and in its place was this new panel. Lin Fan could feel all his martial skills still in his mind. He even felt that he could move as he wished. It was like all those skills had become part of him, feeling much better than before. The panel in the past seemed advanced, but he realized that this one was way better. There were some more options. Lin Fan had no idea what they were for, especially the power level. How could he only be at the post-celestial level? He was going to reach the paracelestial level. But Lin Fan did not sense that he had become any weaker. What did actually change? He needed to study a little, as just simply guessing wasn't going to be of any help. He had not stepped out of his door for days. He wanted to check it out and find Senior Elder Wuya. He needed to see the unnamed mountain. Lin Fan opened the door, feeling incomparably warm as the sunshine fell upon him. He looked far into the distance. There were so many buildings and people everywhere. This was the Glory sect, much stronger and more prosperous than the Saint Devil sect. On the way, Lin Fan saw many disciples from the Glory sect, and many novel things. The size of the Glory sect was beyond Lin Fan's imagination. After visiting some places, Lin Fan finally met Senior Elder Wuya midway. Looks like you have recovered. Let me take you to the unnamed mountain. Senior Elder Wuya knew Lin Fan had exited his room, so he had come to pick him up. What they reached was an empty mountain. It was at the northwest of the Glory sect, and belonged to the back of the sect. For years, no one had passed by, and it was a mountain that had been forgotten by the disciples. Thank you, Senior Elder. Lin Fan looked at Wuya while bowing, and saw his power level. Peak Greater Celestial level. Although there was no change in level per se, Lin Fan knew that this Senior Elder Wuya was much stronger than Saint Devil Grand Master. When Lin Fan followed him to finally reach the unnamed mountain, he was shocked by what he saw. Empty, quiet, uncivilized. This was going to be the new place for Saint Devil sect. This is what you need to know, check it out. This is all that we can do for you. You chose this road, so no complaints. You have the same privileges as other disciples of the Glory sect. How far you can go all depends on you. Senior Elder Wuya reminded Lin Fan. Many thanks to the Glory sect. Lin Fan bowed respectfully. Senior Elder Wuya nodded and left. That was all he could do. Lin Fan needed to rely on himself now to grow. Chapter 89. Redeeming myself, cheapness doesn't change. Chapter 89. Redeeming myself, cheapness doesn't change. In the deserted unnamed mountain, Lin Fan sighed as he sat down on a rock. Then, he started to stare into the distance, thinking about life and the meaning of the world. A gust of wind blew, blowing away some leaves, emphasizing the desolation that seemed to exist there. This place looked deserted, compared to the prosperous sect not far away. He was alone, and had no one to rely on in this unfamiliar place. What should he do? Lin Fan missed the life from before, but it was gone now. Amidst these thoughts, Lin Fan's body became one with the environment, and the depressed feeling spread everywhere. 1 day passed, 2 days passed. Lin Fan sat on the rock without moving, like a stone. Glory sect's Grand Master gave the unnamed mountain to a new disciple. The news was heard by many people. The news attracted a huge attention immediately. The news was unbelievable, they just could not believe the Grand Master would give the mountain to others just like that. Some elders disagreed, but it was of no use. It was a direct order from the Grand Master. Could they say no? Other disciples were very interested in the man who ended up getting the unnamed mountain from the Grand Master. Therefore, they came to see what kind of a man could build a division at the unnamed mountain. When they arrived there, they looked at the deserted place and shook their head. Old and uncivilized, weeds growing everywhere, trees growing out of order, it was too hard to build a division here. Then, they saw the man on the rock, which sparked their curiosity. Some disciples checked him out and left. The second day, more disciples came, and that man was still there. The third day, another wave of disciples come, and he was exactly there. After several days, a rumor started to go around within the Glory sect. The man who received the unnamed mountain was a dumb guy, who kept sitting on the rock without moving. Senior Elder Wuya and Yan were both paying close attention to Lin Fan. They knew Lin Fan was mediating. The destruction of the sect was an unbearable business for anyone. Some would go crazy, some would go numb. Some would get lost in vengeance. And some rare ones would step out of the nightmare and recover. They just did not know which category Lin Fan would fall into. 10 days later, laughter spread across the unnamed mountain. I need to wake up, work hard, and take revenge after I get stronger. Lin Fan woke up with his mind feeling as if it was being caressed by a fresh breeze. What could he do by worrying every day? What was lost could not be recovered. His power could not increase without any effort. Recovering himself and keeping working hard was what he needed to do. When his power level overwhelmed that of his enemies, it would be the time for revenge. In the glory sect far away from Lin Fan, a man stood there, seeming to be able to see the unnamed mountain as if it was just right in front of me. He smiled gently, his eyes full of care and appreciation. It is good to wake up. Lin Fan thought for a while about his current situation. To be frank, he was poor and had nothing. No man to use, poorer than a homeless man. In order to continue the Saint Devil sect, he could not just think about it. As a grand master of a sect, he needed to have a house first, then some servants and disciples. He lacked basically everything. Lin Fan sighed. It was really troublesome to start from the bottom. The good thing was that he was in the glory sect. If he used his brain, problems like these could be solved. Lin Fan checked out the thing that Senior Elder Wuya gave him. An old book. Lin Fan checked it carefully and found out that it had records of secrets about Dongling Continent. Sects divisions, locations on Dongling Continent, divisions in secret places, divisions in forbidden areas, and all others thing which needed to be remembered were all in the book. Training style in Dongling Continent was not too different from that in Kangling Continent. However, it was not as complicated as the one in Kangling Continent. Here, they divided the levels into 4 parts, beginning, medium, high, and ultimate, instead of numbers. Lin Fan closed the book, finally gaining some knowledge about this continent. This continent was not worse than Kangling Continent, and actually was even more advanced. Also, this continent was much bigger than Kangling Continent. There were also many powers in this place, far more complicated than one could imagine. However, this had nothing to do with him. Lin Fan put the book away, not caring about what the book said. The first thing to do was to recover, and continue the legacy of the Saint Devil sect. Although he was the only one left, he carried the high hope of his Grand Master and senior brothers. He could not let them down. Lin Fan scanned the unnamed mountain and checked the terrain. He finally decided to build the house on a flat ground. He picked some large trees and cut them down. Then, he sliced them into pillars and used them as 4 holding pillars. Subsequently, he started to make wooden floors. When everything was done, Lin Fan was finally relived. His 2-floor wooden house was ready. Although it was not something amazing, at least he had a now. It was dark outside at the moment, so Lin Fan went inside his wooden house and tried to train. Faceless Sky Demon and Johnny were the best martial skills Lin Fan knew. Now that the system had changed, he was not sure if training was any different. Lin Fan had reached level 2 for Faceless Sky Demon, but he was still at level 1 for Johnny. When, after Lin Fan started to train, the space behind him shook, like a stone thrown into a lake. Lin Fan was running both the skills at the same time. Like Yin-Yang Tai Chi, half the area was black mist while the other half was the will of the sword, which turned into an unnamed powerful sword with a blinding white light. At this time, Lin Fan opened his eyes in shock. When he went into training mode, he did not hear the notification sound from the system, but he felt a certain power going inside his body comfortably. Lin Fan had never felt like that, and the speed of exercising those 2 skills even seemed to be faster now. This was the effect of the system fusion. He was just not sure whether there were more functions for him to explore. Lin Fan calmed down and returned to training. Next day, the sun rose, and Lin Fan opened his eyes while taking a deep breath. After an all-night training, both of his skills advanced quickly. Especially Johnny, it was at the gateway of leveling up. Lin Fan believed that it would level up soon. Lin Fan wanted to check this sect out now that he had been here for a while. Finding a chance to get some resources or trick someone to be his servant should be a good idea. The most important thing was that he had not eaten for 10 days. He was starving, and if he still had nothing to eat, his body would not be able to hold on anymore. Lin Fan was grateful to the Glory Sect Grand Master. He not only gave Lin Fan the mountain, but also granted him all the privileges a disciple could have. This was unbelievable. Lin Fan stepped out of his door and realized something was missing. He furrowed his brows and immediately came to a realization. So, he brought a giant stone and put it at the entrance. Using his finger as a pen, he wrote the 3 words, Saint Devil Sect. After he was done with this, Lin Fan nodded with satisfaction. That was more like it. Chapter 90, Persuading Some is Still Something. Chapter 90, Persuading Some is Still Something. Lin Fan got down the unnamed mountain and realized that those disciples were giving him weird looks. Those disciples were conducting a private conversation, and when Lin Fan passed them, they would pretend to look elsewhere. Once Lin Fan walked away, they went back to talking. He is the owner of the unnamed mountain. He does not look like someone powerful. Do you think he is the secret son of the Grand Master? I have heard the Grand Master fell in love with someone a long time ago. Quiet. If someone tells on you, you will be doomed. But the unnamed mountain is too poor. No one has been living on it for a long time. It is not easy to build a division there. Lin Fan got the unnamed mountain and built a division on it. This information was not a secret. Hence, some disciples were curious about it, but there were others who were not interested in it. Around this time, Lin Fan actually found some interesting places in the Glory sect. It seemed that secondary jobs were popular here. For example, when he passed by a weapon forging shop, he saw a bunch of rooms with closed doors. There was loud noise coming out of them. Lin Fan did not know what they are doing inside. Suddenly, a muscular man walked out and held a sword which looked like garbage to Lin Fan. Top-level long sword, exchange for golden core medicinal pill. Lin Fan knew of the pill. It was a very helpful pill for people under the paracelestial level. It could greatly boost the speed of one's training. However, what happened next shocked Lin Fan. Those disciples waiting in front of the door totally went crazy about it. They almost got into a fight to get the sword. Lin Fan checked those blacksmiths. Their power level was common, just at the post-celestial level. However, the ability to forge was great, and they were way better than the blacksmith at Saint Devil sect. It looked like fighters who had secondary jobs here all used things to exchange pills that could boost their power level. Later on, Lin Fan saw other jobs, and they were similar to the forging shop in terms of the behavior and response. It seemed that there were many people training here, but few people had secondary jobs. Those who had secondary job used what they created to exchange things which could make them stronger. Nice. Lin Fan started to think something in his mind. Those weeds needed to be removed on the mountain. It was difficult for him to do it alone. He needed to find labor, get some disciples, and let them help him make the sect grow. Lin Fan checked out those disciples around him. They were either post-celestial level or paracelestial level. Clearly, he could not fool them based on the current condition. In order to trick someone, he needed to find those disciples who did not get attention from the sect. For example, pracelestial level ones. After he had the thought, Lin Fan immediately started to act. Hello, junior brother. May I ask, where are the disciples who do not get any attention here? Lin Fan made a smile which he thought was gentle. The disciple who got stopped by Lin Fan checked him out. Who was he? He looked unfamiliar, and called him a junior brother. Was his status higher than his own? However, the disciple saw his serious face and sensed his power, so he got a little convinced. Lin Fan looked at the disciple and smiled while reading that guy's facial expression. He knew that the disciple has been convinced. Senior brother, the disciples who do not get attention must be those servants. The disciple still doubted Lin Fan a little, but Lin Fan's gentle attitude gave him some pressure. Oh, where are they? Lin Fan asked with curiosity. Go straight to east, pass a small road. The servant disciples should live at the middle level of the mountain. The disciple replied while pondering on the situation. Thank you, junior brother. Lin Fan tapped his shoulder and puts hands behind his back, then left. May I ask for your last name, senior brother? That disciple called out from behind Lin Fan. From now on, you can call me senior brother Lin. Lin Fan said without turning his head back. Last name is Lin. The disciple nodded and went back immediately to check. He wanted to know who he was, so that he could probably benefit from it. Following the directions of the disciple, Lin Fan finally reached the place where the servant disciples lived. When he saw the living place of the servant disciples, he found it surprising. Glory sect was a major sect. The living condition of servant disciple was the same as Saint Devil sect's outer sect disciple. This handsome-looking senior brother, you seem to be from the inner sect. How can I help you? When Lin Fan was still checking the place out, a man came over with a smile. Lin Fan smiled and looks at him. Well, get the servants here. I, the master, need to take someone with me to my mountain. Zhang Ergo looked at the senior brother in front of him. He originally thought Lin Fan must be from the inner sect, and thought it would be better to get acquainted with him. It was better if he could get some rewards. When he heard Lin Fan calls himself master, Zhang Ergo's red face turned even more red. The master. That title could only be used by those high-level people in the sect. This, Zhang Ergo knew many things, including rumors within the sect. Although he did not know the big guy, this guy could be someone high up who had been quiet for a long time, and now was picking disciples. Lin Fan also mentioned about the mountain. Only a senior elder could have his own mountain in the glory sect. Okay, please wait for a while. I will get someone right now. Zhang Ergo realized that this may be his lucky day. He never thought he would meet this kind of a high-level man today. If he could go back with the big man, he would become a member of a mountain. He was just not sure which mountain it was, Zongtian Mountain, Qingting Mountain, or else. Zhang Ergo could not even imagine this. He was shaking with excitement just by thinking about it. Lin Fan stood at the same place and sighed. If he did not act cool and mysterious, it would be difficult for him to achieve anything. However, what he said was not wrong. He was the 6th Grand Master of the Saint Devil sect. Although he was weak, calling himself the Master was fine. Anyhow, he needed to get as many as he could. He had to get rid of those weeds first. Chapter 91. I am just looking for some weed removers. Chapter 91. I am just looking for some weed removers. Among the servant disciples, Zhang Ergo might not be the best person, but he had many friends. When he informed the others, nearly half the disciples went crazy about it. What did it mean when a big man came down to pick disciples? It meant that they skipped the outer sect and inner sect disciples, and would become a senior elder's disciple in a mountain. If they were lucky enough to be picked, they would be very successful. They could have anything they wanted and enjoy their lives to the fullest. In a room, a disciple heard the cheering and Zhang Ergo's news, making his eyes flash. Based on his situation, he could become an outer sect disciple soon. He did not have to be the servant and actually get into the sect. However, this big man came to pick disciples, which could be a chance. Entering the mountain or outer sect, these were two choices. Entering the mountain meant one would be protected and resources and martial skills would be available. Entering the outer sect meant one needed to rely on oneself. However, these were not problems for him. Lu Yan was confident. He believed that he was in top 10 among the servant disciples. If he fought hard, he would surely defeat the top disciple. He wanted to avoid unnecessary troubles, so he hid his power level and trained slowly. When it was time, he would surprise everyone and get on the top. Lu Yan had planned out everything. If he were powerful all the time, it would bring no shocking experience. He would be picked by the big man if he suddenly showed an amazing power out of nowhere. Lin Fan stood there and looked at the crowd. Should he be more modest or more powerful? Anyhow, he was the Grand Master now. He needed to be presentable. Lin Fan took a deep breath, put his hands behind his back and looked far into the distance. It seemed like he had seen the meaning of life and entered a mysterious state. Those disciples who were called by Zhang Ergo looked at Lin Fan nervously. This was the big man. He sure looked handsome and powerful. He must be the big man. Lin Fan felt lost because this was the first time he had been looked up to by so many people. Lu Yan stood at the front of the crowd, looking at the big man. Lin Fan looked powerful yet modest. He could not detect Lin Fan's power level. How amazing. Lu Yan was just a common servant disciple, and could even be called as trash. One day, he was beaten up by some senior brothers. He lost too much blood, but the blood touched the necklace which had passed down in his family. Strange things happened at that point in time. That necklace recovered his body, and he got to know many martial skills he did not used to know. From that moment, Lu Yan knew he would not stay common forever. Master, there are too many servant disciples. I could not get to all of them. There are hundreds of brothers here. They should be enough for you to pick from. Zhang Ergo reported respectfully. Lin Fan nodded and woke up from enjoying the view and respectful looks of the people. Everyone was looking at the master and waiting for what would happen next. They wished they could be the lucky ones to be picked to the mountain and start walking towards the bright future. Lu Yan stood there with his head up, thinking that the master could sense his power. If he were picked by the master, he would be able to use his full potential to grab his future. Lin Fan checked everyone's body, without caring about appearances. Lin Fan's standard was strong, powerful, and able to get rid of weeds. Those slim ones were out of consideration straight off the bat. I will only pick 5 today. Lin Fan said, then pointed to Zhang Ergo. Good work for rallying people, you are in. Zhang Ergo was nervous. What would he do if he was not picked? Now he found out he was the first one, and became incomparably excited. His face turned red because of the excitement, and he almost cried out. Zhang Ergo never thought even his wildest dreams that he would get so lucky. He wiped away his tears and felt sad about his previous life. He also looked up to Lin Fan with gratitude. I have to repay the master's debt. Servant disciples started to get more nervous. There were only 5 spots, one was gone, there were only 4 left among hundreds of them. Who would those 4 be? Hundreds of servant disciples looked at Lin Fan in anticipation with bated breaths. Lu Yan stood among the crowd. He was confident to be picked by the master. He suddenly realized that the master had looked at him not long ago. The feeling would be right. However, Lu Yan found it ridiculous that Zhang Ergo could be picked. A sneaky guy like him could be picked, that was so surprising. Lin Fan picked another. That man was tall and skin as dark. His arms were powerful, so must be good at working. Thank you, master. That tall man looked at Lin Fan, and could not believe he was picked, smiling till his cheeks started to almost tear as a result. Lin Fan picked another too. He made his choice based on body build. These picks were born in a farmer's family. They must be good at working. Lu Yan was very surprised. He did not know the standard of the master. All those picks were useless according to him. They could never enter the outer sect. However, these useless people were picked by the master. Did they have special abilities that he did not know about? One last pick was, and Lu Yan was nervous beyond control. However, he kept telling himself, the last pick must be him. At this time, Lu Yan could not hold back and released all his power. He needed to attract the master's attention. When Lu Yan realized that the master was looking at him, he got even more nervous. The master was looking at him, he would surely be picked. Lu Yan's eyes really wanted to talk right now. Lin Fan blinked his eyes and saw Lu Yan. He found Lu Yan strange. His power sometimes was strong, sometimes weak. Although he was good, his body build was too small. His skin was pale and clean. He probably did not work a lot. Then Lin Fan looked away and smiled. Last one is you. A tall guy standing not far from Lu Yan started to laugh. How can it be? Lu Yan's lips were shaking. He could not believe the result. Why did the master not pick him? Did it mean he was worse than those trashes according to the master? Damn, god damn it. Lu Yan looked at those who were picked. Their smiles were like arrows which penetrated his heart. These people were trashes to him, and they got picked. This was not fair. Lu Yan looked at Lin Fan and thought he was so unfair. Today, you did not pick me. In the future, I will surpass you. Lu Yan clenched his fist and exited the crowd quietly. Lin Fan was satisfied with the 5 people, but he did not know someone with great dreams hated him now. If Lin Fan knew this, he would not even know how to cry about it. I just want to pick someone to get rid of weeds for me, how does that attract hate? All right, you follow me. Lin Fan nodded, not wanting to talk much. The weed job was heavy, and one could not waste more time. Master, please wait, I need to get something back. Zhang Ergo said. Lin Fan looked at him and nodded, hurry. Zhang Ergo smiled after getting permission. He ran to a muscular man and said, yesterday, you beat me up and took 10 of my pills away. Now give them back, and apologize to me. The muscular man Zhang Ergo faced was the bully among the servant disciples. Everyone was afraid of him among the servant disciple. However, Zhang Ergo had been picked by a master, what could he do? You are robbing me. There were only 2. You are asking for 10, you. The muscular man was shocked as he whispered quietly. Do not waste my time. The master is here. If the master gets angry, this will not be easy for you. Zhang Ergo said arrogantly. The muscular man looked at the master who was in a hurry, then looked at Zhang Ergo. Fine, here you go. I wish you never come back. Zhang Ergo smiled. Coming back? I am not coming back, heaven awaits me. Good, apologize to me. Zhang Ergo looked at the 10 pills and put them away. I am sorry. The muscular man admitted defeat. He had never thought Zhang Ergo would be this lucky. But if Zhang Ergo were caught by him in the future, he would definitely teach him a lesson. Good. Next time, behave yourself when you see me, or I will teach you a lesson. Zhang Ergo felt so good about himself, something he had never felt before. This feeling was amazing. Chapter 92, Crying Without Tears. Chapter 92, Crying Without Tears. The scenery of the Glory sect was as good as the one of the deep mountain forests. Furthermore, it was quite lively here. Living here really made one feel alive. Lin Fan looked at the 5 workers he had picked. He was quite satisfied with them. He believed that if he kept working, the unnamed mountain would be great again. Lin Fan was a bit famous within the sect. However, his fame did not mean he was powerful. Disciples of the Glory sect thought that he was probably a dumb guy. Have you seen anyone just sitting on a rock for 10 days without moving? Of course, no one had. However, this man did indeed exist. And he was the one who was given the unnamed mountain. Lin Fan did not care about those people. Zhang Ergo and the others followed Lin Fan proudly, enjoying themselves when others looked at them. Check it out, when did we get so much attention before? The emotion of others must be full of envy and admiration. Of course, it must be the master's doing. Master attracts attention no matter where he goes. Zhang Ergo regretted a bit. He should have asked for more pills from the muscular man. How dare he take any action when the master was present? I am going to be a disciple of a mountain, a student of the senior elder. There is no way that servant disciple can do anything to me. While imagining all the glory, Zhang Ergo raised his head and acted proudly. They had been walking for a while now. Zhang Ergo was a bit tired, and Lin Fan was still leading the way in the front. So, he did not dare to ask if they were there yet. At that time, Zhang Ergo felt something was wrong. Which mountain were they going to? There were 10 known mountains in the Glory sect. There were 9 senior elders on them, and the last one was held by the Grand Master. However, they were going to the northwest. Is there a mountain they did not know of? Later, the prosperity of the sect disappeared. Weeds started to show up, and the road made of bricks turned into a road made of rocks. Master, where are we going? Zhang Ergo asked carefully. He was afraid he would piss off the master. Almost there, right ahead. Lin Fan pointed at the tall mountain in the front. Zhang Ergo and others looked at the direction the master pointed at. When they saw it, their faces turned pale. This was not the same as their imagination, nowhere near it. Master, this is the unnamed mountain. There is no one on it. Zhang Ergo cried. He felt like dropping from heaven to hell. Indeed, but now it is not an unnamed mountain. It is the Saint Devil Mountain. The Grand Master gave it to me, and I will build the Saint Devil sect on it. Lin Fan smiled, thinking they are indeed so lucky. You will be the first group of disciples of the Saint Devil sect. When the sect gets stronger, you will all be senior brothers of the sect. Zhang Ergo was shocked beyond words. How was this possible? This wasn't what he had imagined. Shouldn't he be going to those much stronger mountains? How could it be? Zhang Ergo realized that he was probably screwed when he saw those old stone steps. At the same time, the others were suddenly reminded of something, a legend about the unnamed mountain. According to the legend, the Grand Master gave the unnamed mountain to a dumb guy who just sat on the rock. That dumb guy was going to build a sect on it. Was the big man in front of them that dumb guy in the legends? The others' faces changed at once. If this were true, it would be so bad for them. They were not amazing in the servant disciples, but they had a shelter, food to eat, water to drink. They could even become outer sect disciples if they worked hard enough. Now, if they followed Lin Fan to the mountain, everything would change. There was no shelter, food, and drinks. They would have to rely on themselves. They realized that they had been tricked. What were they doing there? If they had known this earlier, they would have definitely refused to come. All right, keep going, we will reach the top soon. Lin Fan had not noticed these people's facial expressions. He knew if they got to the top, there would be no way to leave. Master, my stomach hurts. I need to go to the restroom. Suddenly, one guy held his stomach and screamed. Lin Fan was surprised. He was going to let him go when suddenly, someone else shouted. Master, I just remembered. I have something I need to retrieve first. I will be back when I get it. Lin Fan realized this was not good. These people, they were trying to make excuses. This. When Lin Fan tried to stop them, the other 4 people except Zhang Ergo ran away quickly. That must be a joke. They would rather keep being a servant disciple than staying here. If they followed Lin Fan to the mountain, it would be late to even cry. Zhang Ergo looked at those 4 who ran even faster than dogs. His body shook, and he really wanted to tell them to take him with them. At this time, Zhang Ergo felt someone watching him with a scary face. What is wrong with those people? They just ran off. Do not be angry, Master. I will go and catch them. Zhang Ergo shouted angrily. When he tried to move, he heard something. Fine, you do not have to chase them. If you go back there, I will not be able to protect you. Lin Fan said. He felt a little disappointed. But he was sure he could control Zhang Ergo. Zhang Ergo stopped and realized what he had done in front of the muscular man. If he went back now, he would be beaten to death. When Zhang Ergo thought about that, he smiled at Lin Fan. Yes. Master is right. It is fine that they are gone. I am still here. Good, let us go. Lin Fan nodded. Zhang Ergo stood there and looked at the back of the master. This was a joke. Lucky, That was the worst luck ever. Zhang Ergo did not even have tears to cry out, so he just followed the master. Chapter 93. Zhang Ergo's Tragic Life. Chapter 93. Zhang Ergo's Tragic Life. When one got to the top of the mountain, any lower mountains would seem small. However, the life of Zhang Ergo was nearly over now. He looked at those weeds which were half a human's height, waving in the wind. There was nothing here except for the 2-story tall wooden house. Poverty was not scary. Poverty without hope was truly scary. I, Zhang Ergo, am going to live here forever. Am I going to be the only disciple here? No. Zhang Ergo looked into the sky to prevent the tears from dropping, because this was too sad. Desperate, extremely desperate, he was without any hope. How is it? Lin Fan looked around the mountain. The rock with words at the entrance was the symbol of the existence of Saint Devil sect. Good, this is heaven. This is heaven. It is amidst nature, and far away from the noisy crowd. The wind feels so comfortable. This place is amazing, Zhang Ergo said with a serious face. Yes, I think so too. Now let me introduce myself. I am Lin Fan, the 6th Grand Master of the Saint Devil sect, the owner of the unnamed mountain. Lin Fan stood at the edge of the cliff and stared far into the distance. His long hair were floating in the wind. Zhang Ergo was shocked by the sight. What a powerful man. Now, I will give you a task. This task is important for the continuance of the Saint Devil sect, and the possibility of rising of the sect. Will you accept it? Lin Fan asked seriously. It seemed like he was giving Zhang Ergo a critical task. Zhang Ergo had lost all hope seconds ago. But now, he was moved by Lin Fan's words, and his depressed face was gone. He had nowhere to go. He would be dead if he went back. He should just stay here. If the sect got proper again, he would be the master's right-hand man. Grand Master, I will try my best to do it. Ergo answered with excitement. Nice, well, I am glad. Lin Fan was glad to hear that. He had picked the wrong people, but Ergo could still act like this. This was a victory for him. Do you see those green lives? Lin Fan pointed towards the endless weeds. Yes, I do. These green lives teach me that I need to live like them, no matter how difficult the environment is. Zhang Ergo nodded. If he stayed here, he might as well try his best. He could not go back. The Grand Master seemed strong now, and he was sure he would get stronger in the future. Great, then use all your power and lay down the foundation of our sect. Get rid of those green lives. Lin Fan said with passion. This was a huge project for Lin Fan. A project could not be done without any encouragement. If the motivation were gone, even a small task would be impossible. Yes, Zhang Ergo did not hear the Grand Master clearly. He just found his talk exciting, making his blood boil. His blood just boiled for a second when Zhang Ergo stopped abruptly. Grand Master, what did you say? I did not hear it clearly. Zhang Ergo was shocked. He just agreed without even thinking about it. Now that he started to think carefully, he was too scared to talk. Lin Fan looked at Zhang Ergo and shook head. Lin Fan turned around and walked to a giant rock. He touched the rock with his hands and said, there used to be a disciple at the Saint Devil sect. What a pity, his ears had trouble, so he could not hear things clearly from time to time. One day, an elder said something to him, but he did not hear it clearly. Lin Fan sighed and tapped on the rock. The rock fell into pieces. Grand Master, then what? Zhang Ergo got a little nervous. Then, he became like this. Lin Fan pointed at the rock pieces. Zhang Ergo heard, and his face turned pale. If you did not hear it clearly the first time, then I will tell you again. Lin Fan said gently. Zhang Ergo's body shook a little. He looked at Lin Fan's hand, then nodded. I heard it clearly. It was very clear. Lin Fan looked at Zhang Ergo and smiled. Well, it is good for you to hear it clearly. Now go working, Lin Fan say. Yes, Zhang Ergo heard and jumped into the wheat fields without hesitation. Now he understood it all. He was here to cut the weeds. It was too far away from his goal. He might never reach the goal during this life. He probably would just die in the wheat field. Lin Fan looked at Zhang Ergo's back and nodded. Now, Lin Fan had to plan for his future. It did not matter how fast he could get the sect up and running. He needed to clean it first. He was going to live here for a long time. There were two things which were important in the Glory sect, making medicinal pills and forging weapons. Lin Fan had no problem in making a top-level weapon, but he had no idea about making pills. Based on the current situation, he had 3 ways of increasing his power level. 1. Training. 2. Taking pills and O, vel, B, in .c, ohm. 3. Fighting monsters. Based on the speed of increasing power, fighting monsters was the fastest in the outside world. However, he was in the sect now. Taking pills was the best option now. However, he was not going to give up on the 3 options. He needed to do all of them. Keep cutting the weeds, I need to go down the mountain. Lin Fan said to Zhang Ergo, who was in the weed field. Sure thing, do not worry, Grand Master. Zhang Ergo answered. Lin Fan looked at him. This answer seemed to have a double meaning. But never mind, he needed to learn how to make pills. Lin Fan had made up his mind, he would make pills and take them at the same time. If everything went well, his power level would increase. Then, he would start to build the sect. It would get strong again in no time. 9 sects, Yan Emperor, Heaven Queen, you just wait. You surely have some guts to destroy my sect. Chapter 94. A bug-like way of making pills. Chapter 94. A bug-like way of making pills. There were 10 mountains in the Glory sect. One of the mountains was the Danding Mountain. That was under the control of Senior Elder Yanshan. Disciples of the Danding Mountain, Outer Sect, and Inner Sect all used the rooms there to make pills. Lin Fan walked into Danding Mountain, when suddenly, a mixed smell of drugs appeared. The sound of excitement and depression came out of those closed rooms from time to time. I did it, I did it. When Lin Fan looked around, a man with messy hair ran out of a room. His eyes were red because of overworking. He was on the edge of collapse. His shouting made himself more excited. He even threw up some blood. However, it could not stop that disciple's excitement. Lin Fan found this pitiful. He must be getting crazy because of making pills. Lin Fan found an empty room. The room was not big, and there was only a pill-making pot in the middle of the room. There was nothing else to be found in the room. The air of the room was mixed with many drugs aroma, which felt quite strange. Lin Fan looked at the pot and thought that this should be easy. If he touched the pot, he would learn it immediately, just like how he learned to forge weapons. There were many strange decorations on the pot. There was also light appearing on it. The pot which was used to make pills must not be common stuff at all. Lin Fan faced down to see the bottom of the pot, and found a hole on the floor. That must be where the fire was. Lin Fan had learned from the old book. Under the mountain was a volcano. The fire of the volcano was perfect for making pills, able to make the drugs combine together perfectly. Lin Fan touched the pot and said in his head, "Come, my friend." Ding, congratulations on learning how to make pills. Ding, pill making, level 1. Ding, the skill of making pills. Everything can be made. Match freely. Able to record the recipe. ... That easy, that quick. Any skill, any martial skill, it was not about if Lin Fan could learn it. It was about how long it would take him to maximize the level. Make pills. Now, a pot glowing with white light and covered with smoke showed up in Lin Fan's mind. Fire dragons were circling around the pot, and it looked marvelous. Lin Fan touched his chin. As he had started the pot, he felt should make something. However, there was nothing here, so what could he make? Now, Lin Fan was in trouble. H had no idea what to do. Right, he could match freely. Maybe he could even make an ultimate weapon out of a brick. Lin Fan looked at the ground. He had no idea what the ground was made of. It looked like dirt, but it was not dirt either. Anyways, Lin Fan grabbed some black dirt, and the top of the pot opened. He then put all the dirt in, causing the top to close. That fire dragon started to breathe fire. Immediately the white pot glowed, and it seemed like something was coming out of it. Ding, congratulations on your pill making. 1 Suyuan pill. Suyuan pill. Yellow level pill, using it can increase the speed of training for 1 hour. Suyuan pill recipe, Longyan grass, Shanmuzi. A white pill was resting on his hand, and he couldn't help but be amazed. This was not possible, even the black dirt could make pills. Lin Fan grabbed some dirt again. Ding, congratulations on finding black dirt. It has been here for a long time and absorbed the smell of the drugs, so it can be used for pills now. What, the black dirt is amazing. This, Lin Fan did not know what to say. This black dirt in the hands of other pill makers was useless. But, he could actually make pills out of them. Lin Fan calmed himself down. This is good. This is good. When he was making the pill, the recipe appeared in his mind. In the future, he would just need to find the ingredients if he needed to make some. In order to test it out, he put some more dirt in the pot. Hong Hong, congratulations on making pills. 1 Suyuan pill. At the same time, Lin Fan felt something. Each time Lin Fan made a pill, something went inside his body. He thought that it was the experience which boosted the level of his pill-making skill. Lin Fan looked at the pill and put it into his mouth in order to test it. Ding! Suyuan pill used. Would you like to enjoy the effect or gain 10 experience point? Lin Fan was shocked. After the system got the update, it had truly become better. In the past, the pill would just give him experience. But now, he could choose what to do with the pill. N-O-V-E in .c ohm. Good, good, the system indeed did not fail him. Change into experience. After getting 10 experience points, Lin Fan made up his mind. The pill was a bit sweet, like candy, so that's what it should serve as. Then, Lin Fan started to get to work. He used to put some dirt in the pot, but now, he dug up a block and threw it in. Honglong. Ding. Congratulations on making pills. 10 Suyuan pills. Good, good, Lin Fan was amazed. This black dirt was truly amazing. Suyuan pill was just yellow level, but it was one of the best ones in its level. Without the pills, people's training speed would be very slow. Although the pill's ingredients were common, the failure rate of making the pill was still high. If one could succeed 1 out of 10 times, he or she would be considered as a great pill maker. There was no way to describe a pill maker like Lin Fan, who had 100% successful rate. He was a bug in the system. Then, Lin Fan started to dig more, throwing blocks after blocks into the pot. Ding! Congratulations on making pills. Ding! Congratulations on making pills. Ding! Congratulations, pill making level reaches level 2. Later on, Lin Fan sat on the ground and rested for a while. He looked around, the ground had a big hole in it. He knew should not dig anymore, or the ground would be dug through by him. Lin Fan looked at his backpack. 500 Suyuan pills lay in there quietly, glowing with a white light. Chapter 95. No trading equals no pains. Chapter 95. No trading equals no pains. On Danding Mountain, Senior Elder Yanshan's disciples were all good at making pills. Everyone picked up something from the Senior Elder. They all had their specialties and were all skillful. Those disciples tended to be arrogant, because they thought they were the elites. At this moment, many disciples were rallying in front of a pill-making room. These disciples were outer sect disciples. Some had no idea how to make pill, while some were amateurs. They were here to ask the disciple from Danding Mountain to make pills. Senior Brother Lee, please make some pills for me. Senior Brother Lee, please help me. I can give you 70%. A disciple shouted. Senior Brother Lee, I have prepared 20 sets of materials. I just need 1 pot of Suyuan pill. This Senior Brother Lee was Li Shun, who was one of the old disciples of Danding Mountain. He used to play the bamboo flute for the Senior Elder Yanshan. He was really good, so the Senior Elder liked him and took him in as a disciple. However, Li Shun was not good at making pills. So he was making pills for disciples from the outer sect these years. Other disciples who were in the same class as him had all started to make pills for elders and inner sect disciples. However, this was enough for Li Shun for now. Outer sect disciples were fine, as he had a very high popularity among them. If you want me to make pills, I need to take 80%. Suyuan pill is only a low yellow level pill, but the difficulty of making it is not lower than high yellow level. Making 1 pot of them out of 20 sets of materials is very lucky. You need to prepare 40 sets. November LBJNN. If you still want me to do it, you will go to my servant and put down your names. When you get everything ready, you can come to see me. His voice came out of the room. It sounded gentle like that of some sort of a hermit. Those outer sect disciples who needed those pills had no idea what to do. It was difficult to get pills, especially the one they needed. Those disciples from Danding Mountain were too greedy. They were like vampires who wanted to suck their blood dry. However, who could one go to in order to get the pills? Martial skill and making pills could not be practiced at the same time. Making pills was about patience. One had to clear their mind and be patient every time, or one would fail. If one practiced martial skills and pill making at the same time, one would not have enough energy and time. Unless one entered paracelestial level, only then would one be able to do so. Disciples who needed the pills sighed. It was so difficult to train. Come, do not miss this. I have a deal for everyone. Do not regret this later. You come and you win. Lin Fan stepped out of his door and shouts. These Suyuan pills were useless to Lin Fan. If he took them, it would only provide 10 experience points. If he chose to have the effect, there was little use. If he chose the effect, it would be better to make more pills. Those outer sect disciples looked over there and wondered what was going on. Servant, what is happening? Li Yan asks from the room. I am not sure. Maybe it is a pill trade. Li Shun nodded. He does not care because this was common. He used to be the bamboo flute player for the senior elder, and was the current pill-making star for outer sect disciples. He had no pressure at all. Those outer sect disciples would come to him eventually. They would not be able to find anyone else besides him. Based on his seniority, even those brothers who were more skillful than him would respect him. What, is he the dumb guy on the unnamed mountain? The dumb guy of the unnamed mountain, who is that? Ha, have you seen someone sitting on a rock without moving for 10 days? This happened, why do I not know that? Sitting there for 10 days straight makes people dumb. Exactly. Lin Fan looked around and found them rallying around him. He used some dirt to make these pills, in exchange for some labor. This should work. You guys look, what is this? Lin Fan took out a Suyuan pill and waited for a reaction. People blinked their eyes and started to yell. This is Suyuan pill. Good, you guys are good. Lin Fan nodded. People's excited facial expressions were anticipated by him. Do you guys know who made them? Lin Fan asked. People looked at each other. What did that mean? Suyuan pill was not a high-level pill, but the effect was amazing. Boosting one's training speed related to the power level. Although the ingredients were not expensive, the difficulty level was high. 10 sets of material could only produce 1 pot, and that was very lucky. 1 pot of pills only contained 5 of them, which would also be extremely lucky. And this legendary dumb guy asked who made them. Of course they knew. I know, you did. One guy said that from the front. Lin Fan smiled. Good, you are good. Here is a free one for you. Lin Fan tossed the pill to him. That outer sect disciple could not believe that. He gave this to me for free. He was so happy that he shouted, thank you, senior brother Lin. Other outer sect disciples were so shocked on watching what just happened. Lin Fan saw their shocked faces, and he knew his goal would be achieved. He needed to give them a feeling that he was rich, then they would believe him. You guys look, what is this? Lin Fan smiled and opened his hands. Ah, the crowd totally went crazy. Now they stared dumbfoundedly at his hands, because there were so many Suyuan pills. There were at least 15 of them. Lin, senior brother Lin, you just mentioned a deal. Are you going to exchange your Suyuan pills? One disciple asked. Good, you are smart. Here is a free one for you. Lin Fan threw another one. That disciple was way too happy, as he took the pill. He stared at Lin Fan with incredulity. Who said he was dumb? Get out here, and I will beat you to death. He was a super rich guy. Great, here is the point. You guys know the Grand Master gave me the unnamed mountain. However, there are too many weeds there. If you help me work for a day, 10 pills will be yours. Lin Fan says. Ah, senior brother Lin, are you serious? Those outer sect disciples rallied around Lin Fan and asked. Of course, but this is too late now. You should go back to rest, come to work tomorrow. Lin Fan said. No, senior brother Lin. This is not a problem, we will go right now. The people were way too excited. How could they be late for this kind of good stuff? 10 Suyuan pills, this was not a joke. If they needed to prepare ingredients by themselves, it would take too long. Lin Fan saw people's excitement and nodded in satisfaction. Having money was great, people would rush here to get the job. Remember, I am not your brother. I am the Grand Master of the Saint Devil sect, the division sect. Actually, I should be the junior brother of the Grand Master, so you guys should call me Junior Master Lin. Lin Fan said. For those outer sect disciples, this pill was way too hard to get. Even calling him father would not be a problem at this stage. Junior Master Lin, everyone shouted at the same time. Fine, go, work hard, I will reward those who work the hardest. Chapter 96, Very Strange. Chapter 96, Very Strange. Dusk arrived. The Saint Devil Mountain seemed magnificent. It was pretty quiet here, except for some bugs making noises, and some sighs. In the wheat field, a butt was moving around. What is my future going to be? Zhang Ergo had been working for a whole afternoon. He really wanted to cry. The wheat had hurt him many times. Zhang Ergo sat on the ground and protested. He looked at the endless weeds, and wanted to leave right now. The environment was not good for living, the work here was also not good for people. But when he thought about the pissed-off the muscular man, his body shook uncontrollably. If he went back, he would surely have troubles. Zhang Ergo sighed, when he suddenly heard noise not far from there. Zhang Ergo stood up and took the tools to cut weeds. Master is back, it must be the master. If the master saw him slacking, the master would kill him just like that rock. Zhang Ergo wiped away his tears and continued to work. But, Zhang Ergo realized something was wrong. There were lots of footsteps, and many conversations. This wasn't master. Zhang Ergo raised his head and looked. When he saw people with knives, swords, and axes, his face turned white. No way, the muscular guy brought people here. Zhang Ergo was so scared he almost wet his pants. He thought that these men were here for revenge. There were at least 50 of them, and the master was not here. He was too weak to even fight back. What should he do? Zhang Ergo hid in the weeds without moving. He dared not to even dare to breathe, just in case he was found. Lin Fan brought these outer sect disciples here. He estimated that a couple of days should be enough if he got these many people. Regarding the pills, he was not worried. Tomorrow, he would go into another room and dig dirt to make pills. That would be enough for wages. But at that point, Lin Fan frowned. Where was Ergo? Did he run away because Lin Fan was gone and he could not take it anymore? Ergo, where is he? Lin Fan shouted. Zhang Ergo was hiding in the weeds. His body was shaking, and he did not dare to raise his head. Now that he finally heard the master, he became relieved and happy. Master, I am here. Zhang Ergo ran out of the field. Where were you? I have gathered some helpers. More people work faster. Fine, let us begin. Lin Fan said. Zhang Ergo was relieved. They were here to cut the weeds. Then, he found out that those were all outer sect disciples. Zhang Ergo couldn't help but look at Lin Fan in a different way. Master is a master after all. He can even get outer sect disciples to do this kind of work. When he was a servant disciple, he had once met an outer sect disciple. He had to treat that guy like a lord. Unlike him, the master just got them here to get rid of weeds. Ergo, take these pills. In the morning, pass them around. I am a little tired, and am going to rest now. Lin Fan gave the pills to Zhang Ergo. These pills were no great things, so he just let Zhang Ergo handle them. Yes, Zhang Ergo nodded. Those outer sect disciples who followed Lin Fan here saw what happened. They opened their eyes widely and understood. This Ergo man, he must be Junior Master Lin's right-hand man. Zhang Ergo looked at the back of the master, and the pills. He was shocked. What on earth was going on? Then, Zhang Ergo realized that those outer sect disciples were staring at him weirdly. That scared him a lot. Brother Ergo, what should we do? At that point, an outer sect disciple asked in a friendly manner. This brother title made Ergo surprised. What did you call me? Zhang Ergo was shocked. He thought he did not hear it clearly. These were outer sect disciples, they were completely out of his reach. Brother Ergo, that disciple was a bit confused. At that moment, Zhang Ergo felt so comfortable. That title made him way too happy. He had never thought that a day would come when outer sect disciples would call him Brother Ergo. Good, listen to me, we start here. Zhang Ergo pointed at one place. Lin Fan got to the second floor of the wooden house, studying something all this time. That was the god blood which the Saint Devil Grand Master gave to him before sending him away. However, he received no reaction from it. He knew that thing had a great one's will. It was possible it could take control of his body. However, it had been really a long time, yet there was no activity. That made Lin Fan relieved. The god blood could not be sensed by him, so he had no idea what it could do. Even the system did not mention it. Maybe the god blood was just useless, because the system does not even care about it. Then, Lin Fan entered mediation. He practiced Faceless Sky Demon and Johnny, Will of the Sword, at the same time. The universe energy rallied around him and entered his body. Next day, Lin Fan exited his wooden house. He had thought those outer sect disciples must be gone, but they were still here working. Lin Fan was really satisfied. But Zhang Ergo had fallen asleep already. Post-celestial level and pre-celestial level were way too different in terms of power levels and endurance. Post-celestial level people could work several days without sleeping, eating, and drinking. Disciples who were at the pre-celestial level could not do that. Lin Fan said nothing and went to Danding Mountain. The Suyuan pill was of no use to him, but it was great for those outer sect disciples. Those pills which Zhang Ergo was given were not enough. Danding Mountain, Li Shun was the top pill maker for the outer sect disciples. Thus, he was very arrogant. Li Shun was confident that those people who asked him to make pills yesterday would come today. It felt great to make pills for others and get a share from it. However, Li Shun felt a bit weird. The number of people today seemed to be fewer than yesterday. Where were those disciples who had requests for him? Based on the previous situation, those outer sect disciples who had requests for him should be waiting for him already. This was strange. Chapter 97. Don't ask me how I know. Chapter 97. Don't ask me how I know. Those outer sect disciples who came yesterday, are they here yet? It was kind of late already, they should have shown up by now. No, the servant shook his head. He felt it was strange too, this was the first time such a thing had happened. Senior Brother Lee, I find someone suspicious. He just entered a room, and changed a room soon after. The servant saw a man sneaking around, and immediately suspected him. Oh, is that true? Let me go check it out. Li Shun actually did not care about this. However, this was his territory, so he should be responsible. In the pill-making room, Lin Fan was digging the dirt crazily. The black dirt had absorbed the leftovers which were created by all the pill-making. Therefore, it had medicinal effects now. However, the amount of the dirt was limited. Still, Lin Fan was surprised to find that the black dirt could be used to make Suyuan pills. Lin Fan checked the pills in his bag and nodded. There were more than 1,000 pills, and he had switched couple rooms. When he was done with this rooms, black dirt, he should be fine. Those pills should be enough to pay wages. However, the door was pushed open. Lin Fan stopped and went in stealth mode instantly. The servant saw that there was no one inside, so he stepped in. But the black dirt had been taken by Lin Fan. The servant was not careful enough, so he fell to the ground. Before the servant could say anything, his neck was hit, and he fainted. Phew, Lin Fan was relieved. It looks like the room was not safe, as anyone could enter. He was the 6th Grand Master of the Saint Devil sect. It would be embarrassing for others to know he was stealing the black dirt. Lin Fan looked at the servant, then continued to dig black dirt. He kept throwing blocks in the pot, and Suyuan pills kept coming out of the pot. Soon after, Lin Fan finally dug out all the black dirt in this room. 1,300 Suyuan pills, they were enough to pay wages, and there would even be some left after the payments were done. When Lin Fan was ready to exit the room, he stopped. He thought it was not right to just leave like this. Lin Fan looked at the servant who had fainted on the ground and smiled. Hee. Some time had passed. Li Shun was calling his servant. He had waited for those disciples for too long, so he was bored. He wanted to get his servant to play flute for him so he could relax a bit. However, the servant was missing, so Li Shun was getting angrier and angrier. This servant must be crazy. He did like the servant, but how dare he just leave? The servant needed to be taught a lesson when he was back. Senior Brother Lee, help me. Li Shun heard someone calling for help. Wasn't that his servant? It sounded urgent too. Li Shun got out of his room at once without hesitation, and was shocked when he saw the servant. His servant was naked. What are you doing? Embarrassing, too embarrassing. Li Shun really had no words. Senior brother, I have been robbed. At this moment, Lin Fan was walking back to his mountain. That servant had entered without knocking the door. That was outrageous. He not only took the servant's belongings, but also took off the servant's clothes and threw them into the pot. It was dangerous to enter without knocking, so Lin Fan needs to teach him a lesson. Lin Fan was singing a song and walked back happily. He was nodding to other disciples around him in a friendly manner. He knew he was working towards the right direction. Under the cover of the Glory sect, the Saint Devil sect would grow without a problem. Now, his power level had to increase. If one were weak, one would be eaten in this food chain. However, the Saint Devil sect had to grow too. There used to be more than 10,000 disciples in the Saint Devil sect. But, it was annihilated by the 9 sects. Now that he was the 6th Grand Master of the Saint Devil sect, how dare he call himself Grand Master if there were not more than 100,000 disciples in the sect? One of the top 10 talented outer sect disciples, Feng Buju, is going to fight Yi Tianxiao. Ruo Mengyu is over there too. What, is that true? Ruo Mengyu ranks number 1 among the top 10 talented ones, and she is really pretty. Lin Fan was going to go back to the Saint Devil Mountain when he found something interesting, and was curious about it. He had not seen any trouble here since he arrived. No, he had to check it out, and see how the people in the Glory sect solved their conflicts. He followed those disciples, and soon arrived at the scene. Lin Fan saw 3 people in the field. 2 men, 1 woman. Those 2 men looked talented and strong, especially one of them. He looked cool and handsome, giving people a sensation that he was the king. That woman was actually a beauty according to Lin Fan. She was slim and beautiful, but her eyes looked at people with disdain. Lin Fan did not like that. According to Lin Fan, those women who looked innocent and gentle should be called beauties. They were the ideal women for him. Lin Fan was listening to the crowd's conversation carefully. I know Yi Xiaoshan is strong. Even when he fell from the top one and everyone attacked him, Ruo Mengyu did not leave him. She must know he will get strong again. I never thought one of the top 10 Feng Buju lost to him in just 3 rounds. 3 years ago, Yi Xiaoshan was the top one among the outer sect disciples. However, his power level dropped dramatically for some unknown reason. He almost became a common person. Now that he has returned, he is much stronger than he was. He will probably become an inner sect disciple soon. When Lin Fan heard that news, he found that quite interesting. But, something did not seem right. Novel in .com. Yi Xiaoshan, do not get too excited. The god will take you someday. Feng Buju cursed angrily after losing within 3 rounds. Take or not take, is not decided by garbage like you. Yi Xiaoshan said without emotion. The way he looked at Feng Buju was like he was looking at an ant. Brother Yi, do not waste your time with this garbage. He is just a stepping stone for you. Ruo Mengyu looked at Yi Xiaoshan gently. It seemed as if this brother Yi was the one for her. Lin Fan saw what happened, especially hearing the Brother Yi title, which made him uncomfortable. A bitch, must be a bitch. One should not ask Lin Fan how he knows that. Lin Fan was experienced with people. If he could not sense that, he should just give up living. Feng Buju thought it was so unfair. 3 years ago, Yi Xiaoshan ranked number 1. He never treated people rightly. Feng Buju was just a common disciple at the time, not as popular as he was now. That day, Feng Buju was training and trying to level up. However, Yi Tianxiao was arguing with some disciple at his critical moment. He almost failed and suffered a heavy consequence. Later, he went to argue with Yi Xiaoshan. Yi Xiaoshan's response angered him. Disciples like you are countless in the sect. Get out of here, do not interrupt my training. That day, Feng Buju saw the disdain in Yi Xiaoshan's eyes. Then, he trained madly, even during sleeping time. Yi Xiaoshan looked at people around him and smiled. You used to admire me, then laughed at me for 3 years because I dropped my power level willingly. Now, I am successful again, and stronger than before. You will come to admire me like dogs again. That was hilarious. Chapter 98. Remember, say what you can do. Chapter 98. Remember, say what you can do. Lin Fan was not sure what is going on, but something did not feel right. Yi Xiaoshan lost power for 3 years and suffered. Feng Buju should be the one who was arrogant and bullied people. However, the situation seemed to be reversed. Not right, something was not right. Lin Fan kept observing. He wanted to see how this was solved. Feng Buju was a bit pitiful according to Lin Fan. He was a high post-celestial level, 1 step away from the ultimate level. He should be one of the best in the outer sect. Yi Xiaoshan was also a high post-celestial level. Yet, he defeated Feng Buju in 3 rounds. That was not easy at all. Feng Buju, you should do what you said earlier. The loser gets out of the glory sect. Fighting with you is not my will, because you are just an ant to me. Yi Xiaoshan said and smiled with disdain. Feng Buju's face turned pale, as blood oozed out of his mouth. He was shocked when he heard the words. Leaving the glory sect. In the past, he tried so hard to get in the sect. Now, he had to leave because of the bet he made recklessly. Yi Xiaoshan looked at Feng Buju, and laughed. Do not say I bullied you and gave you no chance. Now, if you kneel before me and apologize, I will not trouble you, and let you stay in the sect. How does that sound? Yi Xiaoshan, do not act as your wish. Feng Buju shouted angrily. As a man, he would not kneel down, that was a joke. Brother Yi, do not waste your time. You letting him kneel down is a grace for him. Now he refuses to do so, so we should not be wasting time. Ruo Mengyu said coldly. Those outer sect disciples were just watching. They had no position here to manage the high-level conflict. Some people were afraid of Yi Xiaoshan. They did laugh at him for past 3 years. Now that he was recovered, they would suffer if he wanted revenge. Yi Xiaoshan smiled. Well then, you can leave the glory sect now. Yi Xiaoshan kept smiling, and it seemed this event was entertainment for him. In his eyes, Feng Buju was no match for him. One of the top 10. Vulnerable. The outer sect was just outer sect. The inner sect was the core of the glory sect. Feng Buju made his fists and said, fine, I will leave. After saying this, Feng Buju's body starts to shake. This was the outer sect. Although he worked hard to become one of the top 10, he was nothing in someone's eyes. Lin Fan watched all this and shook his head. A big sect was a big sect after all. This kind of thing would never happen in the Saint Devil sect. Feng Buju was a bit pitiful to Lin Fan. Feng Buju's body seemed to age quickly, and he looked extremely depressed. Then get out of here fast. Yi Xiaoshan laughed viciously. Ah, a sigh came out of the crowd. You are from the same place, why try to kill each other? Young man, as your junior master, I will say you are overreacting. Lin Fan shook his head and acted sadly. Yi Xiaoshan frowns and looked at Lin Fan. Who was he? Where was he from? Feng Buju was going to leave when he stopped and looked at the man. Who are you? Yi Xiaoshan asked. I am your junior master. Young man, calm down. Although a junior sister accompanies you now, a junior sister may not feel well for some days. You have to treat people kindly. Lin Fan was a little disappointed in the new disciples of the sect. This disciple was way too reckless. Yi Xiaoshan knew what he meant. A junior master, that was nonsense. Lin Fan ignored Yi Xiaoshan, and looked at Feng Buju. Do you want to leave the glory sect? Feng Buju looked at Lin Fan. Although Feng Buju did not know who he was, Feng Buju did not want to leave. So, he shook his head, no. But you are a man after all. You lost a bet, then you should take the consequences. If you do not, then not only would others look down you would probably look down on yourself. Lin Fan said deeply. Feng Buju was shocked. He looked at Lin Fan. He thought Lin Fan was here to solve the conflict, but Lin Fan actually asked him to leave. Yi Xiaoshan was on the edge of rage, but he calmed down a bit. I will leave the sect. Feng Buju said. Lin Fan smiled. Well, do you want to join my sect? Feng Buju had no idea what Lin Fan meant and looked at Lin Fan. Lin Fan saw his confused face and smiled. Saint Devil sect on the unnamed mountain, will you join my Saint Devil sect? Now, all the outer sect disciples were surprised and started to talk to each other. He is the man who was given the mountain by the Grand Master. So he is the one who got the mountain from the Grand Master. Now, Feng Buju exits the sect, but joins the Saint Devil sect. That means, he still stays in the glory sect. This man is going to offend Yi Xiaoshan to save Feng Buju. Yi Xiaoshan was training for pasting few days, so he did not know this. Ruo Mengyu explained quietly, and Yi Xiaoshan nodded a few times. Will you do it? Lin Fan asks. Feng Buju could not think clearly. This man got the mountain from the Grand Master. This thing was not a secret in the sect. The Grand Master also made it clear that the disciples of the Saint Devil sect would have the same privileges as the ones in the glory sect did. Disciple Feng Buju greets Grand Master. Feng Buju knelt down and joined the Saint Devil sect. He decided quickly without hesitation. Lin Fan was glad. The first disciple was smart, the sect will grow quickly. Good. Then follow me to the sect. I have something for you to do. Lin Fan was quite pleased with the result. He tricked another man to join to cut weed, great reinforcement. Stop, Yi Xiaoshan finally shouted. Did this man not know what he was doing? I wanted that man to leave, he dared to keep him. He received the mountain from the Grand Master, so what? That was a grace for a previous division sect, that was unimportant. Chapter 99. Self-created inhumane martial skill. Chapter 99. Self-created inhumane martial skill. Lin Fan knew what would happen next. It was unacceptable to take him away in front of a talented disciple. However, to be honest, Lin Fan did not like respecting such kind of a person. Junior disciple, do you want something? Lin Fan turned around and asked. Compared to Yi Xiaoshan, Lin Fan looked more generous. Yi Xiaoshan was so angry that Lin Fan kept calling him junior disciple. He knew that Lin Fan was mocking him. So, you will just take him in? Yi Xiaoshan asked with a hostile tone. Yi Xiaoshan did not care about this junior master. The Grand Master just gave the mountain to him as a merciful act. He was nothing. He is not the disciple of the glory sect anymore. What is wrong if I take him into my Saint Devil sect? Young man, be more generous. What you are doing is bad for your future. Lin Fan totally sounded like an elder at this point. It sounds like you think you are stronger than me. Fine, let me test this out. Yi Xiaoshan looked at Lin Fan with disdain. He could not keep Feng Buju, unless he had that capability. Yi Xiaoshan did not care about the unnamed mountain which was given by the Grand Master. There were many other unnamed mountains in the sect, and there were many others which were better than that one. Now, the Grand Master gave him that unnamed mountain. So, Yi Shaoshan thought the Grand Master did not really care about Lin Fan that much. As long as he did not threaten Lin Fan's life, he just needed to humiliate Lin Fan in public and teach him a lesson that there were people who he should never mess with. Those outer sect disciples were surprised. Yi Shaoshan just defeated Feng Buju, and now he was going to crush the unnamed mountain. He was truly talented and arrogant, leaving no room for the enemy. This guy from the unnamed mountain called himself Junior Master. Now, if he did not take the challenge, he would be humiliated. They never considered Lin Fan as a junior master. Although the Grand Master gave the unnamed mountain to him, they should be ideally calling him Junior Master. But, no one cared. This Junior Master who came from nowhere did not earn their respect at all. Though Lin Fan was just lucky. Lin Fan looked at Yi Shaoshan and sighed, "Junior disciple, why you even try to do this? I am your Junior Master, I cannot attack a disciple. Fine then, I will just stand here and let you attack me 3 times. I will not fight back." Feng Buju was surprised. He did not believe what he heard. He had experienced the power of Yi Shaoshan. He was too strong. Even though they had a similar power level, Feng Buju was defeated within 3 rounds. Yi Shaoshan was definitely the number 1 among them. He was even able to fight someone who was at a higher level. This master of his said he would stand here and take 3 attacks. How was this possible? Master. Lin Fan shook his hands and smiled, "How is it? I will let you attack me 3 times. Yi Shaoshan smiles with no emotion, "Fine then. If you can take 3 attacks from me, I will let this go." Those outer sect disciples looked at Lin Fan, who looked very calm right now. Was he serious? "Brother Yi, do not overdo it. The Grand Master gave the unnamed mountain to him. If you kill him, it will be trouble," Ruo Mengyu said. No worry. Yi Shaoshan was not stupid enough to kill him. However, letting him stay in bed for several months would be okay. Lin Fan had seen through Yi Shaoshan. He was good, but Lin Fan's paracelestial level body was going to be too tough for him. The low paracelestial level body was enough to take care of him. Grand Master, should we stop this? Senior Elder Wuya said. No need, just watch. Lin Fan knows what he is doing. He is beyond my anticipation. I think even though his potential was destroyed and he had lost all hope, he can actually recover. Grand Master Yan looked at Lin Fan and tried to see through him. However, Lin Fan did not release any energy, so Grand Master Yan could not sense anything. That was strange. Lin Fan stepped forward and stood there while smiling, "I am ready." Yi Shaoshan laughed. He was going to restore his glory and let the outer sect disciple respect him as the king. Hiya! Yi Shaoshan shouted and started his attack. The outer sect disciples were shocked by that attack. They knew that attack was powerful, so strong that they even had trouble breathing just by being in the vicinity. If they had been facing the attack, they would have no idea what to do. Peng, Yi Shaoshan smiled, "This attack cannot kill you, but your organs will move places." Not bad, but this attack is too rough. Yi Shaoshan was confident before, but he suddenly yelled, "Impossible," at the time. Lin Fan had received no damage after this attack. He looked totally fine. Impossible. Lin Fan looked at Yi Shaoshan's face and smiled. The immortal golden body did not have levels or an experience bar now. However, Lin Fan could feel that when the attack hit him, something went inside his body. Lin Fan figured that something had replaced the experience. Hiya! Yi Shaoshan punched Lin Fan again. The fist carried even more power than the attack earlier. It seemed that it could even punch through the sky. Peng, good, stronger now. Lin Fan smiled. He could feel that his body was getting strong. However, leveling up was still far away. No worries, he had enough time. Those outer sect disciples could not believe what they were watching. Yi Shaoshan's attacks could not even move Lin Fan. What was wrong? Feng Buju was shocked beyond words. This was not real. Grand Master Yan and Senior Elder Wuya were also surprised. How strong is that body? Truly, he consumed the blood of monsters and survived. Grand Master's pills did help him, but the key is the strength of his body. It has passed beyond common fighter by too much. Yi Shaoshan saw those disciples' surprised faces, which made him even more furious. Lin Fan's smile was very unacceptable and annoying. Combination Cardinal Palm. Yi Shaoshan used all of his strength, an attack that finally seemed worth considering to Lin Fan. It was very powerful as it used the universe energy, and seemed like it would sweep the world. Grand Master Yan and Senior Master Wuya saw the attack and were a bit surprised. This attack. Peng, still alive. Yi Shaoshan was enraged out of breath. Not bad, not bad. This attack is awesome. Lin Fan nodded and was happy about this disciple. Yi Shaoshan was shocked beyond words. His strongest attack was useless. How was that possible? Those outer sect disciples started to boo him. That was unacceptable. Impossible. Yi Shaoshan was angry and attacked with all his skills. He did not care about the 3 attacks promise. Brother Yi, Ruo Mengyu saw her lover go mad and started to worry. Lin Fan frowned at the time. Hey, disciple, it is enough. Do not overdo it. I am not your punching bag. Lin Fan reminded him. He kept attacking and those attacks were good, but Lin Fan was the junior master. He needed to act like one. November LBJNN. Impossible, impossible, Yi Shaoshan shouted in anger. Lin Fan was a bit angry now. Yi Shaoshan was an outlaw. Fine, I have to disable you for a while. Pung, Lin Fan suddenly raised his leg and tried to kick him away. However, Yi Shaoshan jumped into the sky and opened his legs. Lin Fan tried to retrieve the attack but it was too late. Pung, ah, those disciples who were booing were shocked when they saw what happened. Ding, congratulations on creating inhumane martial skill, ball kicking. The secret of ball kicking, sneak attack. Lin Fan stopped. Disciple, I was going to kick you away, but... Lin Fan had no idea what to do now. Lin Fan realized Yi Shaoshan was feeling the real pain. He was in so much pain that he couldn't help but cry. Lin Fan could swear to the heavens that he did not mean it. For Lin Fan, Monkey Steals Peaches was inhumane already. He never thought he would create something worse today. Was he going to use his feet and hands to fight in the future? Chapter 100. Expressing condolences. Chapter 100. Expressing condolences. Senior brother Yi looks in major pain. Those disciples looked at Yi Shaoshan's faces and were stunned. Yes, senior brother Yi is crying. I have never seen him crying. That kick is scary. If it hit me, I would probably die. ... The disciples looked at Lin Fan in fear. He was too strong. Yi Shaoshan just recovered to his peak level, but he was in a huge pain right now. His suffering made everyone who was watching hard to breathe. Scary, too scary. Grand Master. Feng Buju looked at Lin Fan with fear. He had seen that kick clearly, quick, precise, and powerful. He attacked with no hesitation. He must be a veteran. Feng Buju did not dare to say anything. He was frightened. If the Grand Master attacked him, he would suffer some heavy consequences. Lin Fan looked at Feng Buju and Yi Shaoshan. Yi Shaoshan looked at Lin Fan with his red eyes. It seemed like Lin Fan had killed his father. Retreat. Lin Fan turned around and ran away quickly. Feng Buju was going to say something, but the Grand Master is retreating, so he had no choice but to follow. This is bad, this is too bad. ... Brother Yi, Ruo Mengyu was worried about him and tried to check him out. Do not touch me, do not touch me. Yi Shaoshan felt his soul going up and down like a roller coaster. He felt bad, really bad. Ruo Mengyu had no idea whether she should touch Yi Shaoshan or not. She stared at Lin Fan with hatred. N-O-V-E in .c Om. Lin Fan returned to the unnamed mountain and finally felt relieved. He knew he had made another enemy. Now, there was no good disciple in the Saint Devil sect. He had to do everything by himself. But that was not how a Grand Master should act. Lin Fan thought Feng Buju's level was good, and he was hardworking. He really liked Feng Buju, and was very satisfied. The key was that Feng Buju had nowhere to go. Under his care, Feng Buju would listen to him eventually. Grand Master, you are back. Zhang Ergo, who was overseeing the weed removal job, saw Lin Fan and ran to him in excitement. Lin Fan nodded. He saw those disciples working hard in the wheat fields. They did not slack off at all. The progress was also good. The work seemed like it would be done after a few days. Grand Master, is this the sect? Feng Buju looked at the mountain. He knew the mountain was poor and deserted, but he did not know it was that bad. That 2-story tall wooden house made Feng Buju depressed. Yes, not bad, right? Lin Fan said proudly. Everything was in progress, and the sect would transform soon. Feng Buju looked at the Grand Master and answered, sure. This, sure, includes many meanings, such as, I give up, never mind, and, I will take it. At least he could still stay in the Glory sect. Lin Fan was happy. This was his sect. When the Saint Devil sect would become the strongest sect in Xuanwang world, he would have all the honor. Senior brothers, do you see me now? I am great. Grand Master, where should I live? Feng Buju said. He probably could not live in the outer sect anymore. He would have to only stay on the mountain. You, Lin Fan did not know what to say and looked around. Go and cut down some trees, build a house right next to mine. Ah, Feng Buju stopped, he needed to build his own house. Rely on yourself, feed yourself. In order to train, you have to train and take care of yourself. If one day you are in the deep forest, what will happen? Lin Fan said with a serious tone shamelessly. Feng Buju was scared. Grand Master, I understand. Lin Fan nodded, but his mind was running, this place only has weeds, if you do not work, should I do that? Later, Lin Fan went back to his wooden house. He was still confused about that kick attack. A simple kick could be a martial skill, that was surprising. After the system had updated, Lin Fan was getting more and more confused. Lin Fan checked the status of ball kicking, this skill was so inhumane. Ball kicking has no level, the secret is a sneak attack. This skill only works on men. There are many nerve systems in lower part of a man's body. This skill can disable a man quickly. Light effect, anger enemy. Heavy effect, disable enemy. The skill can be upgraded. Lin Fan was convinced. This skill was not on the panel, but when he thought about it, it showed up in his mind. The use of the skill was surprising. This was a double-edged sword. Light effect, anger enemy. Heavy effect, disable enemy. Lin Fan thought for a while, this actually made sense. The skill indeed did cause pain. But if the pain were light, it would make people crazy. Well, Lin Fan was fine with the skill, and the upgrades were interesting. But, he did not know how it could get upgraded. Lin Fan thought that he should go pay Yi Xiaoshan a visit. Although he was arrogant, he looked really pained at that time. He would see Yi Xiaoshan in the future in the sect, so visiting was appropriate indeed.